myjoyonline.com. They say Bawumia was booed for mentioning non-existent projects. Hogbeza Planning Committee member, he is speaking on that one. CTAG and CENTAG threaten to strike in 5 days over welfare concerns. And stop public funding of National Cathedral, do value for money audit. That's according to the former president, John Mahama. StarFM.com.gh says, resolve teacher unions, GES boss appointment saga now. Clementa Park to Akufo-Addo. Police restore calm at Enchi, investigate violent chieftaincy dispute. And we are not accepting voter ID cards for SIM registration. That's according to NCA. And on the economic crisis, adopt a hybrid system of working to cushion workers, lecture to employers. And if you go international, the BBC says Trump and Biden fire up voters as election looms, and Apple iPhones delayed over China COVID lockdown, and standoff as Italy stops migrants from disembarking. So those are some of the stories if you go international. Where do you want to begin, or you want us to start from the Sakumono Ramsar site?
I'm going to start from Hogbeza.
Okay, let's start from there.
And I'm going to take it from the Finder. Okay, I think they actually did a better job than those other two papers I mentioned. But Asante's Anglos inseparable. The 2022 Hogbeza of the people of Anglo states in the Volta region was not just spectacular, but historic. So they give a really nice breakdown of what happened at the festival. Otumfuo Osei-Tutu II was there. The Durbar was held at the Hogbe Park in Angloga, the traditional and ritual capital of the Anglo state. It was fully packed with the presence of Otumfuo Osei-Tutu II, the Asantehene and his entourage and chiefs. The Asantehene's visit is historic in every sense, especially being the first time in over 120 years that an Asantehene was visiting Anglo. The last Asantehene to do so was Asantehene Kofi Kakari in the 19th century. Wow. The presence of the Asantehene rekindles the celebration of the age-long relationship between the Anglo state and the Asanteman, while that of the Kweuhene and Gamanche would help forge a bond with the two kingdoms as part of the bigger objective of using the Hogbeza platform to foster unity, peace, and national cohesion. Dasibro Osei Bonsu II, the Mamponhene, also represented the Asantehene in 2019. King Takiteko True II and the Gamanche and his retinue of chiefs, they were also present. We know that the vice president was there. He represented the president there. He had an entourage as well. Former President John Dramani Mahama was present. Togbe Sri, of course, hosted everyone as the chief of the Anglo state. And the list goes on and on. So in the center spread of the Finder newspaper, you can read a lot more about how Hogbeza was celebrated this year.
The Kwemuma Hene was also there. Citi Breakfast Japan, the second, he was represented by Nanopo Kuminta, the chief of Kwao.
Okay. Now, if you go to My Joy Online, they have two stories from the same event. One that says a member of the Hogbeza Planning Committee has divulged what he believes got the Vice President, Dr. Muhammadu Bawumia, booed over the weekend in the Volta region. According to Agbotadua Kumasa, prior to the vice president's entry, the spectators were cautioned against embarrassing any invited dignitary. However, Mr. Kumasa said the crowd spiraled out of control when Dr. Bawumia began listing some non-existent achievements chalked by the incumbent government. Okay, now there's a quote. When the Asantehene and the Kweuhene spoke, people applauded them. When Dr. Bawumia started speaking, he talked about the unity between the Anglos and Asanteman. And then the people were enjoying and even clapping for him. But when he mentioned the economic situation, that is when the trouble started. End quote. So that's the story. They also have another story, of course, a more general one that says Dr. Bawumia, the vice president, was booed at the Hogbeza festival.
In the Times, it does say, will curtail high food and fuel prices, Veep assures Ghanaians. Now, this was part of what he said at the festival. He said Ghanaians should bear with the government as it takes steps to turn around the economic fortunes of the country. Though he admitted that things were tough, he said it would be wrong for the government's performance to be measured by post-COVID-19 economic difficulties. He said judging government by the development in the global space and not including the performance of the economy when we assumed office in 2017 to 2020 is an anticlimax. success. We all know that period gave us a strong economy. He said this when he addressed the chiefs and people of the Anglo states at the Hogbeza Festival in Alonga on Saturday. He said since taking over the reign of power in 2017, the Akufo-Addo-led government has demonstrated that it has what it takes to better manage the economy and would turn things around. He said they have recorded unprecedented success across all sectors of the economy, including the provision of school infrastructure, railway transportation, fish landing sites, digitalization, as well as transformational policies and programs that have made the life of the people better.
It was at this point of the speech that's when the boom started.
Okay, let me take you to page 20 of the Daily Graphic, where the president is leading a delegation to COP27, that is the United Nations Climate Change Conference, and that's scheduled to take place from today to November 18. It is one of the largest gatherings of world leaders to accelerate actions towards the goals of the Paris Agreement on the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change. Now, Africa has a united voice in this. Now, a consortium of civil society organizations from Africa, they are strongly advocating that financing, adaptation, loss and damage, and honoring climate finance pledges, all these things should come up. Now, they are known as the Pan-African Climate Justice Alliance, and the president will deliver a statement on Ghana's position on climate change, as well as measures put in place to combat the threat it poses.
Okay, if you go to citinewsroom.com, there's a U-turn, right, on the demolition of unlawfully erected buildings in the core zone of the Sakumono Ramsar site. Okay. Now, the Greater Accra Regional Security Council was scheduled to demolish all structures on the Ramsar site after fence walls in the core zones of the site were earlier pulled down in October. Now, a team was tasked to take an inventory of the houses illegally constructed on the Sakumono Ramsar site. Okay, but at the stakeholder engagement on Sunday, the regional minister Henry Akoto revealed that measures had rather been put in place to get the structures regularized. He says, quote, "I want to say here and now that not a single building will be demolished."
Okay.
He said to Applause. "We will go through some processes of discussions and we'll have this kind of meeting again in about 3 weeks, by which time we would have a clear roadmap." Now, the decision came after the Regional Security Council completed phase 1 of the demolition exercise, where fence walls within the core zones of the site were demolished. So that's the update there.
I guess we do know now that birds indeed don't vote. Front page of the Anchor newspaper, Finance Minister's statutory payments tame MPs after calls for its removal. That is an angle they have. Some swift payments allegedly made by the embattled Finance Minister to members of Parliament weeks after the unprecedented call for its removal from office by some majority lawmakers from his own party appear to have calmed the situation. Kenneth Ofori-Atta is said to have made 4 statutory payments owed MPs after the MPP side made the call for him, together with the Minister of State at the Office of Finance Ministry, Charles Edubuahin, to be sacked. The payments, which include the Disability Relief Fund, the Anchor gathered, were hurriedly made last week after the agitation from MPs.
Well, just staying in Parliament quickly, just a counter, quote unquote, to that one. The minority in Parliament, and this story is on citinewsroom.com, the minority in Parliament will later this week move its vote of censure against the finance minister. The caucus initiated the process in October, citing mismanagement of the economy, alleged withdrawals from the consolidated fund, and illegal payments of oil revenues into offshore accounts, among other reasons. Now, speaking to City News, the Deputy Minority Chief Whip Ahmed Ibrahim said the minority would ensure the removal of the finance minister. So that's what is going on there.
All right. Well, we know what happened on Saturday. The Kumi Preko Reloaded demo took place.
Yes.
This was against economic hardship. So hundreds of Ghanaians stormed the streets of Accra to protest the present economic hardship in the country and call for the resignation of President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and Vice President Mahmoudou Bawumia. It was led by private legal practitioner Martin Kwebu. The Kumi Preko Reloaded #NanaMustGo demonstration brought together pressure groups, the Economic Fighters League and Fix the Country movement, had heavy police presence with horses and armored vehicles. The protesters were clad in black and red attire. They gathered at Obra Spot around 7 a.m. Some of the placards that they held had inscriptions including Ohia Pedede, Stop Galamsey from Flagstaff House. Protect our culture. Save Arts Center. Protect activists. Ghana is a crime scene. We voted for service, not opulence. And Nkrumah never dies. And there's so many more. Sika and Pem mismanagement. Poverty is on the rise. Theft loves silence. Justice for Macho Kaka. We are all Osajifo. Adinkra symbol of failure. And enough of the lies and deception. Okay. You can read more about that in the Ghanaian Times.
Let me take you to the Republic Press on page 3. Beige Bank CEO charged with stealing. Founder of collapsed Beige Bank, Michael Nyenaku, has been slapped with fresh charges of stealing from his customers and money laundering. Readers would recall that the embattled CEO has already been arraigned and accused of stealing over 340 million Ghana cedis at a circuit court. According to the facts of the new case at the High Court, when Beige Bank's license was revoked in August 2018, a review of the financial and other records of the bank revealed some suspicious and unusual transactions which were subsequently reported. Now, some of the new facts include the fact that between 2017 and 2018, Mr. Nyenaku caused the transfer of 10,071 fixed deposit accounts held with Beige Bank, in which various customers placed a total of 448 million Ghana cedis to Beige Capital Asset Management Limited without the knowledge and consent of those customers. Investigations also revealed that Mr. Nyenaku between 2017 and 2018 caused the transfer of 35 fixed deposit investments of 23 customers of Beige Bank, totaling 141 million Ghana cedis to the Beige Group.
Okay. Well, something that is contributing to my headache this morning, fuel prices to surge further as BDCs to sell at going exchange rate. So consumers of fuel products are advised to fill or buy any quantity of fuel they can safely store as prices are to surge further, according to energy analysts. The analyst asserted that bulk oil distribution companies, or BDCs, are now supplying petroleum products to the various OMCs or operators of fuel stations at the exchange rates higher than the current market exchange rate of the US dollar. According to information gathered from the BDCs, they've recorded losses since early September when they sold their products to OMCs at the then prevailing exchange rate of averagely 9 cedis to $1 in the price build-up. Now in November, they need to change those cedis they received using the 8, 9, and 10 cedis exchange rate in the price build-up in September into dollars at the current price of 14. So you can imagine what they've lost, right? You've locked in these products at a certain rate and it's affecting them. So looks like we need to gear up for more fuel price increases, and I just don't know how sustainable this is,
and then,
honestly.
On BNFT's page 3, the CD has had a good week, the past week, according to the BOG. 1 week no depreciation, and says that the country's A-link currency for the first time, memorable weeks, has seen no weekly loss in value against the US dollar. And the BOG is assuring that we will see more of such appreciation.
All right, that's how we wrap it up on the segment. Thank you, Godfred. Thank you, Kokui. That was a newspaper review. Coming up next is the City Business News.
Up next, we asked some Ghanaians what they would do if they were blessed with 100,000.
Coming up next is the Citi Business News brought to us by Goil. Goil is your oil marketing company of choice, and they're making things easy for you. You can pay for your fuel purchase using mobile money. Just drive to your nearest Goil station now, buy your fuel, pay via Momo Bank card or the Goil Go card, or you can visit their Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter handles to get more info on that. Goil, good energy, Goil, Yanya DM. And the business news also brought to us by Access Bank. Access Bank has brought the triple salary promo. Now switch your salary account to Access Bank's Empower salary account today and automatically enjoy free interest on payday loans, pick now, pay later loans, fly now, pay later loans, and other personal loans. Just switch your salary account today to enjoy this and so much more. Promo runs between now and the 30th of April 2023. You can visit at ghana.accessbankplc.com to get started. Access Bank, more than banking. And MTN is also bringing us the business news. They are asking whose birthday it is. Well, it is yours. And MTN is saying that because it's your special day, you deserve great birthday gifts. They are giving you 3 hours of free talk time, 25 free text messages to call and text all your friends on MTN. You can also get birthday cakes and e-vouchers to grab your own birthday gifts at some of their favorite shops and supermarkets. Remember, T's and C's apply. Join the biggest family in Ghana and let's chill on your special day. Kind courtesy MTN. And the Citi Business News is also brought to us by Enterprise Life. Enterprise Life is your advantage. Netele Nete is here. She's got the latest from the world of business.
And welcome to the breakfast edition of Citi Business News, proudly brought to you by MTN, Goil, Enterprise Life, your advantage, Access Bank, more than banking, and powered by your most comprehensive business news website, citibusinessnews.com. My name is Netili Neti Ajaho. Coming up, stakeholders push for timelines for the commencement of the collection of taxes on electronic commerce and online businesses, and the Institute of Energy Security reiterates calls for government to apply windfall profits from oil revenue to reduce fuel prices. To our stories now. As government seeks for ways to mitigate the impact of the hike in fuel prices on consumers, the Institute of Energy Security, IES, has stated that governments will be on course in controlling the situation should it leverage on the country's windfall profits from oil revenue. This, the IES believes, will help reduce fuel prices on the market and the burden of increased costs of goods and services imposed on consumers by the high prices of fuel. Fuel prices are currently selling for 23 cedis 19 pesos for diesel and 17 cedis 48 pesos for petrol at various pumps across the country. Executive Director of the IES, Nana Amoisi VII, has been speaking to Citi Business News.
The government is serious about bringing any relief to Ghanaians at this moment. There are many strategies and mechanisms beyond Temare Refinery and what's working to deal with the situation. Some countries have found it necessary to introduce subsidies to cushion consumers. Some have cut down on their taxes and levies. Some have resorted to increasing the production or the refining of their own indigenous crude. And most of them have put their currency strengthened against the importing of the foreign currencies that is used to purchase crude oil and the fuel. These are ways governments can look at subsidies, strengthen your city against the dollar, use the windfall from your crude oil sales to subsidize as well, and also make sure that there's enough dollars in the system for the importers.
That was the Executive Director of the Institute for Energy Security, Nana Amoisi VII. As part of efforts to ensure that the country mobilizes adequate revenue and widens the tax nets for national development, tax analyst Dr. Alex Ampabeng is pushing for timelines for the commencement of the collection of taxes on electronic transactions, particularly persons involved in e-commerce. He posits that currently there is no clear way since the Ghana Revenue Authority in March this year announced it will begin collecting taxes from non-resident Ghanaians who undertake online businesses. In an interview with Citi Business News, Dr. Alex Ampabeng called for a new system to track all e-marketplaces and their players to effectively tax them.
And when we talk about the e-commerce sector, we are not talking about e-levy. So why do we leave the electronic commerce, which is generating the taxable economic activities, and rather taxing incomes that we have already taxed? So we do believe that Now, if you want to buy something on Tonaton, on Jumia, on Gigi, on Amazon, you can sit in the comfort of your home and buy almost everything. But ask yourself, how much taxes are people paying or this industry paying? Again, look at the tech giants. You want to go to Facebook now. Before you play one video, see how many adverts comes up. Or YouTube, how many adverts comes up. These are revenues generated in Ghana's shores. And by the global digital taxation agenda, this revenue generated within the shores of Ghana, Ghana has to benefit from it. GRA did put out a message that they were going to start taxing the digital sector, if I'm right. I think that was in April. But again, they were saying they were going to pilot it in April, and then there was May, and then June, and now we are in October, and nothing is happening. So you do believe that the sector has a strong potential and more sustainable way of taxing, generating revenue, because that's the new way of doing business.
That was tax analyst Dr. Alex Ampabeng. To grow the local economy, the government must lead the way by ensuring it prioritizes sourcing from local businesses and also institute policies to check foreign competition for such entities. Players within the manufacturing sector believe these parameters are critical amidst the present economic turmoil and will improve the country's fortunes. Michael Ogbedu has the rest of the story.
At a time when inflation is at an all-time high, utility tariffs are up and the cost of fuel in the country keeps hiking, manufacturers are amongst the worst affected. The cedi has significantly depreciated by about 50% this year and traded at some point last month at about 16 Ghana cedis to the dollar. The fluctuations of the currency poses a major challenge for industries that have a hard time figuring out how to price their products. This led to some locally made commodities like oil seeing their prices on the market more than double. Elizabeth Owusu-Jebi, the public relations officer for Interplast Limited, further highlighted the struggle. She spoke to Citi Business News on the sidelines of the National Consumers' Choice Awards Ghana 2022.
We are spending more money to get the same raw materials that we were getting a couple of months ago. And funny enough, this has to be carried on to the consumer, unfortunately, because we've tried our best to absorb these extra expenses that came in, but at the end of the day, now the consumer has to also come in place.
She believes that government's engagement with local industry is critical to turning the situation around.
Why can't we restrict these products that come into the country? Why can't there be policies that Ghanaians or construction companies will patronize what is readily available here? Because if you buy my products, I'm able to expand. I can employ more, take off a lot of the load or pressure with unemployment in the country. So government needs to take the bold step by buying made in Ghana product themselves for all these projects that they get themselves into.
That was a report filed by Michael Ogbedu. Cocoa farmers who profit from human trafficking and child labor will soon be blacklisted from accessing farming inputs. The sanction is to help eradicate the issues of human trafficking and child labor, which is confronting the country. Our Central Regional Correspondent, Calvis Tete, has more in the following report.
At a two-day workshop organized by the Gender Ministry to discuss issues such as human trafficking, forced and child labor confronting the sector, representatives of various cooperatives were educated on regulations and declarations that are against the practice. According to a study by the Department of Cooperatives, a group of cocoa producers, mostly cocoa farmers in the southern sector of the country, transport people, particularly children, to exploit them as workers on their farm. Speaking to Citi News, William Kwashidali, who is a deputy registrar at the Department of Cooperatives, says farmers who are identified to be engaging in such acts will face sanctions which include denial of farm inputs as well as prosecution.
When we finish this, we will train our officers to be able to form what we call child protection or human trafficking committees in the various cocoa cooperatives. So within the cooperatives, they will identify three or five people, and they will form the child protection or human trafficking committee. We want to use the peer mechanism where they themselves know if Mr. Amadou goes to the north and brings children or forced labor to work on his farm, those cocoa farmers within the cooperative, they will know because they belong to the community. And so with the Child and Human Trafficking Committee, we want to use this model to be able to bring the incidents at least down to the minimal level or completely eliminate it. If the members are recalcitrant and they are still persisting, they will sanction them either by expelling him or her from the group, and for that matter, he will not benefit from the inputs from COCOBOT, or you will now introduce the criminal aspect where the law enforcement will come in.
That was a deputy registrar at the Department of Cooperatives, William Kwashi Dali, ending that report by Calvis Tete. Now let's see how some major currencies are faring on the foreign exchange market. On the interbank foreign exchange market, where banks trade amongst themselves, the dollar remained unchanged and is selling at 13 cedis. The British pound gained 15 pesos and is selling at 14 cedis 70 pesos. And the euro gained 20 pesos and is selling at 12 cedis 89 pesos. However, at some forex bureaus within the capital, the dollar is selling at 13 cedis 95 pesos. The British pound is selling at 15 cedis 20 pesos and the euro is selling at 13 cedis 20 pesos. Let's now join Gideon Amweni of Data Bank for the latest updates on the stock market.
Last week, new gold emerged as a sole decliner, trading lower by 17 cedis 80 pesos to 218 cedis 20 pesos. However, the stock market indices closed flat as there were no price changes in their constituent stocks. Consequently, the Ghana Stock Exchange's Composite Index closed with a year-to-date loss of 11.80%, while the DSI 20 Index settled at a year-to-date loss of 13.40%. This week, we tipped the share price of Trust Bank Gambia to increase based on strong observed demand for the stock. On the contrary, we expect SIC Insurance to decline on excess supply of the shares in the market.
That was Gideon Amweniche of Data Bank, and that does it for the breakfast edition of Citi Business News, proudly brought to you by MTN, Goil and Enterprise Life, your advantage. Access Bank, more than banking, and powered by your most comprehensive business news website, citibusinessnews.com. My name is Neti Ajahu. Have a good business day.
A rise it me. A rise increment in my salary. This is all I ask this season. So jagela is so compressed on the coin of rest or coin, yeah. Come my yappy, but I soon a chantana man, share no. Shama can say, Namemudi and Washi. Shama Buddha, Buddha, dear Namemudi more than it. Shama Fidjaman does you come in me more than. is Citi 97.3. Minimum back Guru Cabre. I try your German sign. You know, ya. Nana Yamina Betchere. May I won't campaign. I try your German sign. You know, ya. Nana Yamina Betchere.
This is the Citi Breakfast Show, the city's biggest conversation.
Good morning, it's time for kickoff here on 97.3 Citi FM. My name is Daniel Cranting. In the headlines, Asante Kotoko and Accra Hearts of Oak record wins in match week 5 of the Ghana Premier League, bring the latest in the world of the Premier League in England as Arsenal go back on top of the Premier League. Let's begin with the Bet Power Premier League, and there was match week 5 action across the country. Asante Kotoko, they recorded a 2-1 win over Samatex after scoring 2 late goals, courtesy Nicolas Mensah and Augustine Japon. Here's Kotoko head coach Seydou Zebo after the victory.
C'est le mental qui a changé le jeu aujourd'hui. Yeah, it is the mentality that changed the game. When we were down, the advice that we were giving to them was to push until they score. They score, and God being so good, we had a second goal. Yeah, we have this problem. We've been having opportunities, creating chances, but converting the opportunity or the chances into the goalpost has become something difficult for us. So what I told them was to push hard. When you get the chances, relax, calm your nerves down, and then play your normal ball. And that was what they did, and we had 2 goals. Ils ont donné le but, ce sont des coups francs qu'on travaille, au cours de séances d'entraînement.
You heard Kotoko head coach Seydou Zebo speaking there. In other results, Accra Hearts of Oak recorded a 1-0 win over Kotoku Royals, courtesy and a free Barnier penalty. Hearts of Oak head coach Slavko Matic believes there's more room for improvement after their slim win.
I think first half is something how we want to play. Second half already. Guys still feeling some pressure. We're working on that, mentally training. We must play more with the ball like we played first half. We have first half goal, we have chances. Second half already, we go back little, we should change again. System and formation from 4-4-2 to 4-2-3-1, what I don't like. But what is necessary for the team, we make. I think what is good, clean sheet, what is good. I think character of the players. But for a better performance, what I want, we should run more. We should run more with the ball. We should run more without ball.
That was Hearts of Oak head coach Slavko Matic. In other Bet Power Premier League results, Indiana Stars recorded a 1-0 home win over Legon City's Breakum Chelsea were beaten by 2-1 at home against Real Tamale United. BBN Gold Stars were 2-1 winners over King Faisal. Karela beat Bechem United by 1-0. Accra Lions beat Nswachuman FC by 2-0. And Dreams FC and Tamale City played out a goalless draw. Later today, Accra Great Olympics will take on Mediama Sporting Club. Moving on, the head of player relations at the Professional Footballers Association of Ghana, Yusuf Chipsa, has expressed delight at the GFA's announcement of welfare policies for local footballers. There will be a standard player contracts and minimum wage for professional footballers in Ghana starting next season. Additionally, ex-footballers will be given a monthly stipend from the Legends Fund and free access to local football matches.
Really excited. We've had these discussions with the FA for a couple of times now, and it's a great news to hear that it's going to be implemented in the next coming season. We just hope and pray that God should give this current administration the energy and whatever it takes for them to implement this. The PFAG have been doing things behind the scenes for some time now, and I mean, we are happy to see this current administration giving us a listening ear. All the proposals we've taken to them, they are trying to implement them one after the other. So we are just excited, and we hope and we pray that everything that we've spoken about will be implemented.
Yusuf Chipsa is the head of player relations at the Professional Footballers Association of Ghana. Let's now do some Malta Guinness Women's Premier League action. There was match week 5 results. In the Northern Zone, Tamale Super Ladies were 3-1 winners over Fabulous Ladies. There was Ashtown and Prisons Ladies playing out a goalless draw. Northern Ladies beat Candy Soccer Academy by 5-2, and Pendakwa were 4-0 winners over Pearl Pier Ladies. Later today, Supreme Ladies will take on Dreams Ladies. In the Southern Zone, soccer intellectuals were beaten by 2-1 at home against Thunder Queens. Hazakes Ladies were 4-0 winners over Rich City. Lady Strikers were beaten at home by 3 goals against Police Ladies. Faith Ladies were also beaten by 2-1 against Isiam Socrates Ladies. And Berry Ladies and Army Ladies played out a 1-1 draw. Let's now bring you our World Cup fact series today in Qatar. Ivan Sofuchu Manso looks at the Black Stars' performance at the tournament.
Welcome to Today in Qatar. The Black Stars have played in 3 World Cups and will be making their 4th World Cup appearance in Qatar. The team first qualified in 2006, followed by back-to-back qualifications in 2010 and 2014. Ghana's first ever World Cup game ended in a 2-0 loss to Italy in 2006, but the Stars recorded their first World Cup victory in that same World Cup with a 2-0 win against the Czech Republic in their second group stage game. South Africa 2010 is Ghana's best World Cup as the team finished as quarter finalist. Overall, Ghana has played in 12 World Cup games, won 4, drawn 3 and lost 5. The Black Stars have scored 13 goals in total at their 3 World Cups and conceded 16. The West African country will be making a return to the tournament after missing out on the 2018 edition in Russia.
You heard Ivan Sofuchu Manso with today's episode of Today in Qatar. Let's now do some Premier League news now. In Manchester City required a late or stoppage time winner from Erling Haaland. They were reduced to 10 men, but they still managed to beat Fulham by 2-1. That took them top of the Premier League on Saturday before Arsenal took on Chelsea on Sunday, and Arsenal needed a Gabriel winner. Defender Gabriel scored that winner in the second half to beat Chelsea by a goal 2-0 to send Arsenal back on top of the Premier League. Let's hear from Chelsea head coach Graham Potter after his side's defeat.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, always is to lose a game like we did. We often puffed up, but I think you can see the difference in the two teams in terms of confidence, in terms of points that they've got, in terms of structure and work together. We're not in a not in a fantastic moment as we speak. And in the end, I think as much as it's not nice to say, I think Arsenal deserve to win the game and with a better team overall. So we have to take that and use it as motivation to improve.
That was Chelsea manager Graham Potter speaking there. Arsenal manager Mikel Arteta admits his side is in the title race, but says Manchester City are still the favourites to win the Premier League.
It's another step as a team, I think, to come here against a top opponent, top manager, top world-class player around the pitch and to perform, dominate the game and actually win it. It's very meaningful, so hopefully we'll give the boys even more belief. Yeah, look at the last 6 years where Manchester City is done. With the best manager in the world, with the best team in the world, they've shown it consistently in every single competition. And we have to be very, very respectful of that. We are getting much better as a team. We are competing much better. We are getting really good results right now. But this is a long shot. I think you're in contention. We are today. But in football today and tomorrow is very difficult. So let's enjoy tonight.
Mikel Arteta is Arsenal head coach. Elsewhere, Unai Emery marked his first game in charge of Aston Villa with a comfortable 3-1 home win over Manchester United. There was another big one at the new Tottenham Hotspur Stadium between Tottenham Hotspur and Liverpool. Liverpool winning that game by 2-1, courtesy Mohamed Salah brace. Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp shared his thoughts after the game.
A little bit tough times. A lot of they had now to travel a lot in the Premier League until they saw the first 3 points. So yeah, I said got a bit carried away. That it just big, absolutely big. Before that, the final whistle, I was not able, have been able to do that because I was really knackered. It was really tough game for everybody. Brilliant first half, really good first half. Got good football, controlled, top goals. World-class goals, and then we all know Tottenham.
That was Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp speaking there. Tottenham Hotspur manager Antonio Conte wasn't too happy with Jurgen Klopp. Now, last season, at the tail end of last season, Tottenham Hotspur and Liverpool played out a 1-1 draw, and after that game, Jurgen Klopp criticised Conte's side and the way they played. Conte asked Klopp after the game if he was happy with the way his side played.
Yeah, but before to answer my question, and Jurgen was happy
for the way that we played tonight. Yeah? No, because it was important that to know his opinion. Jürgen is a really good coach, but at the end tonight we are talking about a defeat, and maybe in the game that we played at Anfield, the final result was 1-1, was better. About the performance, but I have to be happy, and I have to make consideration about the whole game.
Antonio Conte is Tottenham Hotspur manager. Another results, Leeds United beat Bournemouth by 4-3. Nottingham Forest and Brentford played out a 2-2 draw. Wolves were beaten by 3-2 at home against Brighton. Leicester City also travelled to Everton to take away a 2-0 win. Newcastle climbed to third in the Premier League with a 4-1 away win over Southampton. And Crystal Palace beat West Ham United by 2-1. Moving on, Rana Motors have rewarded the second batch of loyal customers with tickets to go watch the Black Stars at the Qatar 2022 World Cup. This brings to 10 the total number of customers that will get a chance to go watch the Mundial earlier in October. The first batch of 5 picked up their tickets and have now been joined by another group of 5. The lucky winners were individuals who purchased Kia vehicles in the month of September and were taken through a draw supervised by the NLA. Rana Motors Chief Operation Officer Kasim Odemat shared his thoughts through City Sports after the event.
They're getting a flight ticket. Also, they're getting a match ticket and the accommodation. So everything is covered. They just have to go and enjoy. And especially the winners of today, most of them are going to watch the Uruguay match. So I think they're going to be having more fun. And I hope that Ghana will take its vengeance towards Uruguay, because we didn't swallow it till now. We couldn't swallow it. So we have to do something about it, and I hope this time we'll be able to do it. We have the opportunity to do something about it.
You heard Rana Motors Chief Operating Officer Kasim Odemat bringing an end to kickoff here on 97.3 City FM. My name is Daniel Cranting. For more sports news, visit citysportsonline.com. Kickoff is brought to you by the Shell.
Trust the process. The biggest things often start small. No matter where you are now.
Shokoto for my God, and I go the shocky for my God, Asunto for my God, I go Shokoto for my God, and when I'm shopping, there's nothing I no go fee afford. See me rocking my Balenciaga for my God, and by His grace, there's no girlie I no go fee run, Be on a beat and I dedicate it to my God, Hey, I feel His goodness and His mercy. From New York to New Jersey, no matter what I want, I get it from my God. I feel His goodness and His
7:35. There's still the Citi Breakfast Show.
No matter what
live on your dial, City 97.3 FM. Send your messages on 0549986996. Earlier, kickoff was brought to us by Lecheho. Remember that you have to update your records with Lecheho because the Bank of Ghana, per their directive, or per its directive, is saying that the Ghana card is now the only accepted form of ID for all financial transactions. Visit any Lecheho branch near you to update your records with your Ghana card to enable us serve you faster and better. You can also send a WhatsApp message to them on 0574065958 or 0302. Okay, so that's the WhatsApp number. You can call them on 0302208333. Lecheho, let's improve lives. Now, people are looking for convenience, a simple and easy life, and Pokia gives you just that. She's your virtual assistant from Star Assurance, and she gives you the ability to be anywhere and still purchase or renew your motor insurance at any time. Chat to Pokia today on 0242436160 or dial short code *713*222# and enjoy smooth and quick service. Star Assurance is your solid partner.
See me rocking my Balenciaga for my God, and by His grace, there's no girlie I no go fi run.
Few birthdays coming in.
Be on a beat and I dedicate it to
Happy birthday to Lord. I think we read that already. Happy birthday to Madame Eunice Banini, seasoned actress. That's coming from Jimmy Quest.
From New York to New Jersey, no matter what I want, I get it from my God.
And another birthday message coming in. This one is from Emmanuel Ni Afra Kwaponsaki, lead producer of Top FM and Top TV. And he says, as today marks another milestone in my stay on earth, okay, I give God the praise. So he's wishing himself a happy birthday. Happy birthday to Bishop retired Juliana Deborah Pepra on the occasion of your birthday. We pray the heavens, we pray the God of heaven will keep strengthening you. That's coming from your children. And happy birthday to Mr. Alex Autry, MD of Multi Choice Ghana. That's coming from the entire Multi Choice Ghana team. And from the City Sports desk as well. Alex Autry, happy birthday to you.
Of Multi-Choice, yes.
Multi-Choice Ghana,
Multi-Choice MD. Very, very happy birthday to you, from all of your staff, from us here as well, from your friends at City, personally from me. Happy birthday, Mr. Autry. Enjoy your day.
All right, this one says, help me say a wonderful birthday to the womb that brought me life. She's a strong woman of 9 children and took care of over 20 boys. Mrs. Agnes Alabi Gakwashi, aka Ato. She's 67 today. Okay, that's from Sweet Naomi.
From New York to New Jersey.
And then let me send birthday wishes to the voice.
The voice, yeah.
Michael Katahina.
Oh, today's his birthday.
In this town, yes, Michael Katahina, today's your birthday.
Happy birthday, Michael.
Former sprint star. A lot of people don't know that Michael Katahina used to be one of the fastest around in this country. Yeah, back in the day at Tech.
I see.
Oh yeah, Michael was really fast.
Interesting.
You know, and these days he does a lot of things.
He has some acting, you know, he does some, he's
Michael Katahina, aka Mr. Grant from Eno.
I
don't know when he was, but he was.
So happy birthday,
he was a
Michael.
rich man, Mr. Grant. Michael, happy birthday to you.
Another request for Mr. Alex Autry. This coming from Wale Adeyo Famosa and everybody at Primus Advertising. They want to say happy birthday to him as well. And I'd love to say a belated happy birthday to our friend Elvis Darkon, of the Finder newspaper. His birthday was on the 5th of November, Saturday. Elvis, belated happy birthday to you, and wishing you all of the very best. Keep up the good work. So Elvis Darko of the Finder newspaper and the News Center blog.
Okay.
Happy birthday to you.
And this one says, happy birthday to my best friend, wife, and mother of my children, Bridget Apia Okwening, from your husband, Isaac Okwening. And happy birthday to one of our colleagues, Emmanuel Kwe, aka Too Sweet.
Hey, Sweet, Sweet, Jenche. Happy birthday, Too Sweet.
Happy birthday to Emmanuel Kwe.
Too Sweet, DJ Too Sweet.
Yes,
the ultimate, DJ Too Sweet. DJ,
yeah,
Charlie.
the ultimate DJ Too Sweet.
Too Sweet, today I owe you.
Too
But
Sweet.
today is November 7th.
Yeah, November 7th.
Aloski, is today not Kenofrata's birthday? Let me
Yeah,
check.
today is the finance minister's
something
birthday.
that people will whisper you. You come and sit on radio and be saying,
No, I'm just checking his bios.
that he wants to celebrate his birthday.
But we'll celebrate
we're
it for
just
him.
acknowledging
Some
it's
of
his
us are
birthday.
postponing our birthday for 2022. Can man enjoy a quiet birthday in peace?
Oh, but he's a very public figure.
Why must you pull his birthday out?
He's a very public figure. It's a secret.
This is November 7th.
He hasn't told
It's
you.
Kenofrata's birthday.
He
It's his
hasn't told
birthday.
you he wants any birthday.
Happy birthday to Ken Ofori-Atta, the Minister of Finance. Yes, for Ghana.
Is this still finance and economic planning?
Yes.
Is this still finance and economic planning?
Mofep.
Wish him happy birthday and stop what you're doing.
You see, Nathan, you know there are some days in your life you just want a quiet birthday
Bernardino.
to celebrate with your children and your family. Why are people saying it on air?
You see, happy birthday.
He's a public figure and it's his birthday.
So can't public figures have private lives?
Okay, fine. Happy birthday.
No, he's a public figure.
From me to Ken. Happy birthday.
You're here.
All the birthday messages and all the other messages are proudly brought to you by Creamy Plus. Creamy Plus evaporated milk takes you back to the original creamy taste of evaporated milk, and is a great complement to your tea, coffee, gari, soakings, mashke, and all your cereals. And it has essential vitamins and has vegetable fat, and it's gentler on the stomach. You can find Creamy Plus in all girl shops, Bachuna, Total, other supermarkets in your neighborhood, or for bulk purchase, you can contact Les Farm Distributors at Medina Rates Junction on 0501 682522, or Grace has found us at Akoko Photo in Dansoman on 0245 162747. And Apollonia City is inviting everybody to their 2022 edition of the Family Day. Apollonia City is Accra's newest $250 million city equipped with state-of-the-art infrastructure. Come and network with other like-minded executives and business owners and take a tour of our futuristic city as we explore the most viable investment options in today's tricky market. It's happening on the 12th of November, and there'll be buses leaving the Accra Mall at 8 a.m. And the Family Day will be happening at the Aduma Place located at the heart of Apollonia City. See you there. And Rich Cocoa is your favorite cocoa beverage made from the finest Ghana cocoa, and is back with the National Essay Competition. A total of 100,000 CDs in cash prizes are up for grabs. And you can get your JHS or upper primary pupils to take part. Now, write an essay describing 5 things you would like to see to improve access to basic education in Ghana. Essays must be handwritten and not less than 750 words for JHS pupils or 600 words for upper primary pupils. Submit your essay along with empty packs of either Richoko 1 kg or 500 gram or 5 packs of Richoko 20 gram and complete contact information to selected vantage points across the country. Deadline for submission of entries is 19th of November 2022. Visit the Cadbury Choco Facebook and Instagram pages for more details. $7:43, Monday the 7th of November 2022. It was quite interesting over the weekend. You had several things happening. I had the Hogbeza Festival happening in the Monsa region, which was wonderful. Great. I saw some of the pictures. Lovely stuff there. Beautiful. Exhibition of Ghanaian culture. You know, it was great. I love the color. Then there was a demonstration. The Kumi Preko Reloaded happened over the weekend, and essentially to highlight the economic situation. Times are tough. Times are hard. And so Martin Pebu, he was the lead person. You know, a few weeks back he had been talking about this, and they managed to pull it off over the weekend in Accra. So those were the 2 things. And then last night we the Greater Accra Regional Minister, and that story is on citynewsroom.com. You can find that story. Very interesting U-turn on the demolition of structures in the Sakumono Ramsar site. So those are some of the big things that happened over the weekend. But I think, Kokui, you kind of started us off earlier with the Hogbeza Festival. You were very unhappy with the kind of coverage it got.
No, I was just thinking, I mean...
Especially in the Daily Graphic.
Only because, for something so historic, and it's not just... Hogbeza is celebrated every year, at least, in our lifetime, we know every year. From what I understand, this was the 60th anniversary celebration, which in itself is a big milestone, right? Then we had Otumfuo going there to celebrate with Togbisri, which is, again, historic because Anna Santini has not been to Hogbeza since the 19th century, right? So I think there were so many historic moments within the historic celebration that it would have been nice to have a bit more of an extensive, report on this, or something commemorative that people could take out of one of the major newspapers, and I know that sometimes they highlight celebrations of other countries, which maybe are sponsored, right? Understandably, but this is ours. Our tradition, our culture. It's a Ghanaian celebration, and it brought together so many different ethnic groups within our country, and there's all kinds of should we say, or there have been all kinds of insinuations about the relationships between Anglos and Asantis in particular, right? So I just thought the coming together of these two chiefs at such a historic occasion was big enough. Yes, the color, the spectacle was also really, really beautiful from what we saw on social media. And again, I would have loved to attend Hogbeza this year. Unfortunately, I couldn't. But so it was a bit of a letdown to see that, it didn't really get much coverage in the newspapers. Yes, there were articles we can see, but it's almost like business as usual, which I thought was a bit of a letdown. That's my personal opinion. You may not share it, but
what is interesting, apart from the fact that it may not have had the same level of coverage you'd expect, was that there's a slant to it that has gotten some coverage.
Yes, exactly.
Maybe, they blame the media. They say we like bad news. But the vice president's speech was interrupted by some boos, which seems to have been covered in some of the media as well. So, look, journalists are wired to look for controversy.
Yeah,
so when I think, particularly on social media, the booing made a lot more rounds. Whether every publicity is good publicity, I do not know. But you're right. It's a historic celebration. I mean, I saw a video of the Santini entered the place, and the way he was received, it was really nice.
It's really beautiful.
The way he was dancing, it's almost like they provoked him to dance in the palanquin. They were giving him so much fun that he started, doing his thing, and it was really lovely. And the photo of the Santini and the Awumefia on the front page of the graphic, smiling in a warm embrace, beautiful, gamanche. I mean, it is. Yes. This is what we want. Yes. Traditional leaders have a big role to play in uniting the country, in moving us forward, and I think the planning committee did a fantastic job in choosing the people to invite, getting all the big shots from the traditional side there.
Beautiful.
Amazing stuff.
And especially since we keep saying we want to push our tourism and culture. It's potentially one of the biggest revenue earners for us, and should be. And this is a festival that can and should sell beyond our shores. People, if the national newspaper cannot sell that to people in such a way that, look, as I'm sitting here, I should be able to pick it up, see that inside and say, you know what, next year, which I'm planning, I need to be there. We've got to sell to ourselves first.
For somebody
the buy-in.
who a year ago was an ambassador for the Volta region tourism, I feel that Kokui is right in the sense that if you look at the potential for visits, and the committee has done well, but there's more we could have done. If Asantine is coming to Angloga for this event, all the hotels should be fully booked. We should have people flying in. There should be football games. There should be a jamboree of things. And the economy that this can because you see, the Volta region is one of the regions where there aren't enough industries. So we're trying to push tourism, ICT, and agribusiness. There aren't enough industries in the region. So, but tourism is big because in terms of the history and the places, it's one of the things that could really earn money for the region. So while this is good, I think it could even be a whole month. You know, there should be different angles, lectures, movies, reenactments of coming from all those things. So great start. But you see, you won't have the Asante every year.
Exactly.
And so this year he's coming this year is massive. And I don't think it's a lost cause. They could still do more with it. I don't know.
Possibly, yes.
Okay. You know, because it's 60th anniversary. Yes. Like people, it should be much bigger.
Massive.
But I don't know.
Yeah. For those who missed or did not even know this was happening, here's a short report from the 60th Hogbeza Festival that took place over the weekend.
What you see behind me is a warm embrace between the Asantehene Osei II and the Awa Mafia of the Anglo State, Kokui Sri III. This is how beautiful and colorful this year's Hogbeza Festival has been, and this marks the 60th year of celebrating this historical festival. And this festival is celebrated every year in memory of the escape of the Evers from the tyrannical rule of Tagbi Agokoli in present-day Togo. The focus has been on the unity of Ghana as a nation, in expressing the unity that is between the Evers and the Anglos especially, and the Ashantis. The Asantehene mentioned critically the history of how the Anglos and the Ashantis have become united in one accord.
Asante and Anglo collaborated on many issues as a country struggled through periods of change. Asante Mine dutifully created an Aloga division as an equal part of the traditional administration of Kumasi. Indeed, we have gone further to create a unique traditional system of governance which provides for every ethnic group to be represented by its own chief on an equal basis. How better can one reflect the depth of our respect for harmonious community relations? It is in this evolution that we see and experience the heart and soul of Asante and the essence of its commitments from Opimso Osei to this day. Asante does not go back on its word and does not renege on its commitment. Asante's strength has been built upon its fidelity to its word.
The Vice President of the Republic, who also graced today's event, reminded Ghanaians that even though we are in hard and tough times, Ghana has had some achievements over the past 6 years.
We celebrate the 60th Hogbeza Festival today. We must look back, even as we take stock of our achievements and challenges over the years, and re-strategize on how we can further accelerate the development of the Anglo State and Ghana at large.
The government of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo has, over the last 6 years, taken many steps to reposition and transform the economy. So whilst we have hardships today, which we are working very hard to alleviate, and inshallah we will deal with them. Whilst we have hardships today, let us not forget what we have been able to do in the last 6 years. Let me recall that our government in the last 6 years has created more jobs than any other government in the Fourth Republic. Let me recall that we have constructed more roads than any other government in the Fourth Republic. Let me recall that we have built more interchanges than any other government in the Fourth Republic. And let me say that we have built more airports than any other government, more railways than any other government. We have built more classrooms than any other government in the Fourth Republic. We have constructed more fish landing sites than any other government in the Fourth Republic. We have also restored teacher and nursing training allowances. Togbeo Mameo, beyond infrastructure, we have implemented many transformational policies. Over the last 6 years, Ghana has successfully issued the national ID card. For the first time in our history, Ghana has a digital property address system. For the first time in our history, Ghana has implemented mobile money interoperability between the telcos and the banks. This is the first in Africa, and Ghana is the #1 country in Africa for access to financial services. For the first time in our history, any Ghanaian who has a national ID card can open a bank account sitting at home and don't have to go to any bank to fill a form. For the first time in our history, we have drones delivering medical supplies to our people in the very remote areas, whether it's blood, whether it's vaccines, whether it's medicines, snake bites, and so on. If you are in Yangbosre, the drones will come to you. Afram Plains, the drones will come to you. Yagabakubori, the drones will come to you, and so on and so forth. And Ghana, our own Ghana, is the whole world's largest medical drone delivery, the whole world. For the first time in our history, people can buy electricity units on their mobile phone. If they can even buy it from China, Germany, Japan, or the UK and buy their units on their mobile phone.
60 years of Angla unity and development, and sustaining a unique cultural commonwealth for the future generation.
Now, a visibly elated Togbi Siri III thanked the chiefs and kings who graced this year's Hogbeza Festival and called on the natives of the Anglo land to come back home and invest in their land.
Doctor, police magao, soldier magao, tukwalao, chef boy. I'm all of them. Yona. Daka, ni problem in yaba. I'm of you, Mutava Yokata, Yada, Namide, Nuka to Pomelo Joba, look on what Yada. But don't know, we're not doing what happened.
Funny thing, I'm from Georgia, and Georgia, we don't really consider ourselves Anglos, but it doesn't really matter. You know, the major Anglo towns, Keta, Keji, Huti, Srongbe, Abo, Afiadenigba, Nyako, is all on a straight line. It's a major thing for all of us because Agokoli is known to everyone when you are born. It was a difficult time. It's almost like the Exodus in the Bible, how they escaped. And so it's it's probably the biggest, it's our biggest festival. It's our biggest festival. So it's a massive event, great endorsements, and also some politics. Nathan is shaking his head.
It's the
Look,
phrase that,
what's your problem?
No, the phrase that comes to mind is read the room or read the crowd.
Ecclesiastes 3 verse 7.
Hey.
Verse 7b.
Bible quotation.
Yeah. It says a time to be silent and a time to speak.
If they invite you to give a speech, you have to speak now.
You see, I'm not saying that he shouldn't talk.
Who are you talking about?
I'm talking about the vice president.
So was he booed?
Yes. And there are several online stories to that effect. I mean,
So the noise they were making in the background was actually boos.
Yeah.
Not cheers.
I've listened
Not
to
cheers,
I've
but
listened to-
jeers.
Cheers.
You know.
All right.
Now, see, if you go to, for example,
But why were they jeering him?
because look, Bernard,
Maybe we should ask the people there. or
maybe, but the
reporter to
point
tell
is,
us
but the
what they
point
were.
is, context matters. In this situation we are in,
Yeah.
you've been invited to a festival to speak to people. This is not the time and place to come and tell us we've rolled out Ghana card and we've built more houses, more roads, more infrastructure. That's really not the place for it. People don't want to listen to that. People want to listen to something that gives them hope, something that lets them know that they have a government that is thinking about them and wants to make sure that these horrible times will pass. Not this, we've done who cares? Nobody does. At this point, nobody does. And in any case, even if you've done it, we'll see.
I'm surprised the vice president speech writers chose to include that in their speech. Because, as you said, read the room. I mean, look, Gabi of all people, and you know, he tweeted something, I think you sent it to me, right? Was it last week? Or last 2 weeks? I think so, when I came back, last week, right?
Last week.
Yes. And this was when the somebody met King Charles. And he says, this is not an election year. So don't treat Ghanaians like voters, but citizens. Politics of comparison works when elections are before us. Right now, people just care about how to make ends meet. Use your energy in showing what is being done to bring relief.
That's it.
So
Simple.
the people who wrote the speech are not reading openness.
I
mean, this is I 100%.
Yeah.
This is not it. And you know, it's even out of character. You know, we are very generally very polite, and we don't. I think it's a bit out of character for us to have people jeer the vice president. So they must have been really riled. And I feel the vice president and his team need to take a strong hard look at themselves to say, look, you've gone to a festival that's in good spirits and people are really going through tough, difficult times. Endorse the festival, talk about tourism, reinforce the president's message about the fact that we'll come out of the crisis and just leave.
Move on.
You built more classroom, you built more Charlie,
unprecedented success in all sectors.
I think
it was
railway transportation.
Look, it was in poor taste.
I mean, you know, politicians will say that we have to remind people of what we've done. But the truth is that when people are going through the kind of things people are going through now, you number one, you're coming there even. They invited the president. I think the president sent him. So that's the first point. And then to get in there, and after saying all the things about what is being done to fix the economy, then spend some time now trying to show that we are the bosses.
No need. You've been invited. I mean, look at the situation. Read the room.
This is
Read the room. Read the room. I'm quite surprised that the government in the last month to 6 weeks to 2 months. Listen, the president got booed in the Ashanti region twice.
Yes.
Right? He does the fellow Ghanaians address. Yes. Everybody's reaction to that address is that, wait, that's a little off. And then you have another opportunity to save yourself and you do this? That's horrible. That's poor.
Maybe they've lost the ability to sense what people feel.
Really?
Yeah. You know, when you are in leadership and you don't create the right environment for truth to be spoken to you, you can live a lie. If you don't, I always say that if I don't, the guys around me, there's a poster I can put up that will let them tell me what I want to hear. Because I don't encourage dissent or I don't want the truth. And I start believing in my own lie. That's what happens to leaders.
The Empress New Clue.
So you can be there and you'll be singing, and the people say, Charlie, today you deliver power. Oh, don't mind the NDC boys. This is not NDC matter.
But they
this
were
speech,
literally...
that angle of the speech was completely offside.
And it wasn't as if the crowd was right there telling him it was off.
Defiant.
And he still was defiantly going forward.
Yeah, NDC people.
All right, it's time for tech and social media trends, and that's brought to us by
our friends at Cal Bank. Now you can shop online or in store using our range of debit and prepaid cards, Visa, MasterCard, and GH Link. To learn more, call 0800 500 500. Cal Bank, forward together. And it's also brought to us by our friends at Vodafone.
Daniel Cranting is here. He's got the segment for us.
Nathan.
Yes, sir.
Things are happening.
I tell you.
Things are happening.
I tell you.
Kumi Preko. Kill me slowly.
Kumi Preko is not.
It's like kill me already. Like
kill me now.
Like
kill me now.
Yes, Preko now at once.
Quick.
Cool.
Take me out. Oh, Ghana. Demonstration. Saturday morning. Charlie. When we watch some of the videos saying the things people were saying, people are suffering. People are suffering. Serious. There was this video being with the thing I can't even see it on there. Serious video. What the guy was saying. Charlie, just say they've destroyed his everything. Now he's hoping that they suffer the way he suffered.
Hey.
Oh yeah. To the max. It's not a joke. Then Bawumia, the vice president, Boo parade. But me, I don't get that thing. Those times, SS, when you are performing on stage and people are not giving you response.
Yeah, you can
tell that there's something wrong. Then you change the formula small.
Do you understand?
They are doing away, go away, get out there. You are still giving you this thing. They will throw tomatoes on you and you see that they are not joking.
I hope we don't get there.
And we hope. Data bank.
They too, they are there.
They are there. They've been sending notices to their customers.
Yeah,
something that
I saw
Bernard,
something.
Bernard mentioned it. He alluded to it a couple of weeks ago. I think it was last week. Yeah, that these funds, treasury bills and things, to get to a point where it looks like we are getting there. So they are basically telling their customers that if you put in a withdrawal request, it will take a bit more time before you get your money. So exercise patience. The country is going through hardships. We are all going through hardships. So let's bear this together. You understand? We are all in this together. High School Musical is soon. Arsenal.
I knew it was coming. Thank you, Danny K.
And she was giving me some eye.
Yeah. And I hope you'll mention the other match too that took place.
Arsenal.
Which one? There are so many matches. Which one?
Oh, you know the former Arsenal coach is now coaching a certain team, and that team beat a certain other team.
Unai will get him.
And I've noticed that none of you Manchester United fans in the studio today have mentioned this. But
this one, nobody's mentioned anything.
Danny K, please continue. You were saying something about Arsenal.
Yeah, Arsenal. They returned to the top of the Premier League table. They beat Chelsea.
1-0.
That's for Chelsea. Somebody needs to lash that coach. Oh no, it's true. What is he doing?
United should have done them at Stamford Bridge. United should have really done them.
You see, my thing is that fine. If Arsenal beat you right now, there's not any this because Arsenal are top team.
Amazing.
But you show some effort. What's that? Let Arsenal suffer small. Look at what Partey was doing to them. Grown men, Jorginho and co. Grown men following Thomas Partey all over the pitch. Oh master. What's that? Partey, you two, the same way we saw you play on. Take that into account.
We don't want any EBR.
Let the Portuguese and Uruguayans be following you, master. How can you do that to Jorginho? And Loftus-Cheek is a small boy. But Jorginho, Partey, then good evening too.
Charlie.
But man, you, their timing is just awful. Man, you. What kind of poor timing is that? Your brothers have gone to lose. Go and do something to her. What is that?
Anyway, what else is trending? Is that tech news? Because this weekend there's Elon Musk all over.
Oh yeah.
Twitter, they are serious. They say now they started calling back some of the people that they fired. They say some people were laid off by mistake. So the guy got overexcited, so he was just signing the papers, just signing. Now they are calling some of them back that, oh boss, please, we made a mistake, so you come back. And they put they are flexing small. You understand? They want the job, but you have to flex more. Before you say yes.
It's important.
They say come back, then you just come back. No.
That was second social media trends brought to us by Cowbank and Vodafone.
Christy, how long have we been doing these businesses? Oh, just about. Christy, stop. How long are we going to stay calling ourselves?
civilized nations, it is only as a favor and for tokenist purposes. Our presidents may receive 21 gun salutes, but he's only humoring us. In truth, we are not treated as equals. And all this is because when we have been given the opportunity to govern ourselves, we have demonstrated that we are incapable. And we who have been given the opportunity to create systems that can run our countries, we have the penchant of bastardizing and making the absurd normal. That is the African tragedy. Africa will only liberate herself when her young men and women and our old men and women are capable of asking critical questions. Today, many African leaders are famous for the wrong things. Many African leaders, without being diplomatic about it, are thieves. Many African systems are simply kakistocratic regimes, the government of the least qualified. Many African countries are kleptocracies, a government where thieves have come together and have conspired to do only one thing, to rob their countries dry. And if the leaders of Africa are guilty, and I want to submit to you that the leaders of Africa are guilty, we, the population, are also in equal guilt. We have all sinned and fallen short of the glory of God and of our country. Because whenever we are given an opportunity to engage in elections, we elect individuals on the basis of their ethnic extraction and on the basis of the depth of their pockets. The question is, should we even be allowed to vote? This is an uncomfortable question, but it's a question that we must now ask.
8:17. Still listening to the Citi Breakfast Show. Your comments are welcome on 0549 986 996.
Nathan Quao.
Oh yeah. This one they're just
yeah. So maybe we'll get some additional notes from those who covered the event to read the mood and what led to the routine. Because as I said, this is a bit out of character, but it also tells you how probably angry they were in terms of that. But let's not look, I think it was a big celebration.
Yes.
And it was an important occasion, historic, and we should take advantage of this. And at the end of the day, look, for me, the big issues in Ghana have been captured in the economy time. Front page, job scarcity on the rise.
Yes.
Second case, fuel prices to surge further as BDCs to sell at going exchange rate. Second story. Third story, BOC likely to tighten policy rate further. All these are negative stories. Right? Then when you go into the editorial, uncertainty over 2023 budget, Guta hints of product shortage ahead of festive season. Just everything is chaka. Cheaper fuel price from Dubai. Stakeholders speak hard to government. You know,
I've also heard Alex Mode stating his own.
Weekend. There's a lot of issues. So
you mentioned fuel prices, right? Now we've seen the new fuel prices 18, 23, 24. Now MP for Isujaman Thomas Nyaku Ampim, he's calling for the leadership of Parliament to consider 2 sittings in a week, right? Due to fuel price increase. Now he says the MP says the House could consider sitting for about 8 hours in a day for the proposed 2 days to save on fuel for the week. Now, he made that call during the presentation of the business statement for the ensuing week by the majority leader, Osechi Mensah Bonsu. So let's just hear MP Thomas Nyako Ampim detailing what exactly he meant on the floor of Parliament.
Mr. Speaker, looking at the kind of business that we have, is it not possible to consider? We can stay for 6 hours a day. Instead of coming 2 hours, we go back, drive here 2 hours, we go back. Half the day, if we're receiving 8 hours, we'll be willing to stay, do the business for like two days, and then save the 3. That way, we can save like 500 cedis on fuel every week. And this will also be in line with the proposal by President Mahama to organizations to allow those who can work from home to do so, because the fuel situation is killing us, Mr. Speaker.
So that's Thomas Nyako Ampim, MP for Esojama. He says it is in his word, it's killing us as the MP.
Imagine if you are a company that uses diesel for your machines, or you have trucks that you use to work, and diesel is now 23 cedis per liter. Then you probably just fold up the business.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get into that later. Here you have someone in line.
Yes, let's speak to Benjamin Aklama. He's a Volta regional correspondent, and maybe we'll get into. He was there, and then we'll try and understand the color pageantry, whatever of the festival, and then get this angle of the vice president getting booed. Benjamin, good morning. Welcome to the Citi Breakfast Show.
Good morning, Nathan.
How are you doing?
I'm awesome. Just a little tired.
Great. First of all, let's just run us through the festival and how it all came together. For those who missed it, just give us a summary of, what it was like to be there, the color, the pageantry, the culture, and all of that in a few minutes.
Well, Nathan, it was a very beautiful scene to behold with the royalty coming from several parts of Ghana and congregating in Anglo, and the fact that this was the first time that the Asantehene was expected to grace the Hogbeza Festival, and this time he was there himself. And the Asantehene would normally move with a large entourage. He was there with over 250 human beings who were his courtiers, and adding to the color and beauty of the celebration, the Gamanche was there. The guns that literally made their presence felt with the firing of musketry. There was barely 2 minutes without musketry. I mean, you'd hear each time and again, just showing their presence. The Quao was equally there. One thing which beautifully ran through their speeches was the reaffirmation of Ghana's unity and the call for us to discard unnecessary tribalism. And the Asantehene was equally very clear in mentioning that the Asantes and the Anglos are bonded together by a treaty, an age-old treaty that the two chiefs have agreed to remain true to. The Asantehene clearly mentioned that the fidelity to that treaty is what makes them Ashantis and Anglos, and that's why they both have land allocated to each other in their homeland to further entrench that relationship. And he said that it was sad for him to learn that some persons for their parochial political interest were trying to paint some division between the Anglos and the Ashantis, which he said never existed. It should not be the case. And so it was important for us as Ghanaians to look more into our culture and the beauty of same rather than supporting or following people's political agenda blindly. And that alone added to the beauty of the celebration. It was a very beautiful moment.
Great. At least you've painted that picture. Now, the other thing that has emerged from the festival was the booing of... Hello, Ben? Okay, I think we lost that camera. We'll get him back in a bit there. But yeah, at least he's kind of explained things, painted a picture for those who missed out. So maybe that's
picture.
Yeah.
When I was in Legon, I had a roommate from Kumasi whose best friend was some guy from the Anglo. Actually, the guy was from, I forget the town, but it was one of the towns in the Anglo area. They were very close, and they were in training college together, and they came pure Ashanti and pure Ewe. And they I don't know how they were just speaking English, because they couldn't understand. They were very good, and I noticed that they are very similar. Even though politics and modern elections makes us feel we are very different, if you look very closely, we have more things that unite us and that divide us.
Okay.
But somehow, for politics,
Charlie, everything's poor. Let's go back to the line. Benjamin Aklama is back. Ben, we lost you for a bit. I was asking you, you were on the ground. Can you explain to us what happened when the vice president was giving his speech? Stories have emerged that he was booed and all of that. What exactly happened at that time, or what happened when he was giving his speech?
So the vice president spoke for about 9 minutes in all, and out of that 9, he spent about 5 minutes extolling the beauty of the unity that Ghana enjoys, and reaffirming the fact that there is more that unites us than divides us, celebrating the presence of all the royalty that had gathered at the Tokatolia Park in Angoga, and also literally appreciating the Asantehene for reaffirming what, we all know that there's been a treaty, and recommitting himself and the other traditional authorities being true to that treaty in effect. So he spent majority of his time celebrating the occasion with us. He was even applauded at the point. At several points actually. And then towards the tail end of his presentation, he said he would not be fair to himself, or he would have been told if he did not speak about the economy. And so he mentioned that things were difficult, and that things were not necessarily just difficult in Ghana alone. He said inflation had only risen by 5-fold in Ghana, by about 12-fold in Togo, about 7-fold or so in Cote d'Ivoire. He mentioned several other countries and said inflation had risen about several folds in those areas, and also mentioned that, and I think personally that in his quest to rekindle our hope to say, it's not all lost, we could do it again. He attempted to say that, as Ghanaians, you must remember that within the past 6 years, we've done so and so and so and so and so and so. So we could do it again. But the manner in which he went about it sounded more like the sloganeering we would normally see during the campaign. So we are the first to do this, we are the first to launch a drone medical delivery service, we are the first to launch a Ghana card that allows you to register or to open a bank account without visiting the bank, we are the first to do. So he was mentioning several firsts, which appeared disconnected from what the occasion was about, and that got him booed. The booing did not even last to 3 minutes. And amidst the booing, some persons who were also raising NPP flags were equally singing his praise at the same time. So I honestly don't think that the booing was anything that significant, but it came at a point where he brought in what seemed to be a bit of politics into the matter. I must be very clear on the fact that he spoke about 5 to 6 minutes, extolling the unity that was displayed on the day, and he was applauded. He was applauded very loudly for that, not once, not twice. It was only when the politicking came in, when he started recounting the achievements of the government in the past 6 years, and he copiously mentioned 6 years, mentioning that there were some things that were done in the 6 years that had never been done in Ghana's history, that the current government created more jobs than has ever been created in Ghana's fourth Republican dispensation. Okay. And that's when the booing began.
Okay, Ben, thank you so much for that update. That was Benjamin Aklama. He's our Volta regional correspondent. So yeah, at least, if for nothing at all, I think a strong message, right?
Has been said.
Yeah.
Go and see no more.
Yes. Don't try this again.
I don't think. But you know, this is not the first. I thought whilst I was away, I heard there was some booing of some. I think the president was booed somewhere.
Yes, in the Ashanti region.
Not even there. Some diaspora event.
Yes, the Global Citizen Festival.
Right.
That was the first that started the trend of.
And then in the Ashanti region as well.
And they also got a very funny response from Honorable Katie.
Well, I think the politicians have to know what, particularly the government, they need to know what people feel. So for me, it depends how they react when they use it. Because they are not saying don't talk to us. They are not saying don't tell us what you feel. But there's a time to campaign. There's a time to tell us your achievements. But this is not it. This is a time to, as they say, as the Ghanaians will say, this is a time to mose and say, Charlie, we will fix things. Just trust us. This is not the time to say we've built more roads. We don't want to hear. All right? Because somebody can also say, okay, well, you've also increased fuel price than any other government. You've also depreciated than any other government. Yeah. Why didn't you add that too? You get me? So I think the truth is that the reality has not yet hit, and which is why the Amping voice you played is interesting. Oh yeah. For an MP to say now he wants 2 days of 2 days. So the people who are doing mechanized farming, whose tractors need diesel, they farm. Will teachers go to work 5 days a week? Maybe they should have a conversation about whether we should reduce the work week for all of us, not just MPs, because they are on this being paid for self. We some of them who are ministers, they get paid. We get free fuel. So I find it very, very, very remarkable that a member of parliament is asking for a 2-day working week for the MPs.
So every day they'll sit 8 hours.
2 days in a week.
You know, these are the things that when Jampo and Co hear, they when the you know, and almost every day now you see a story from Labour. Some of them are low-key. If you go on citynewsroom.com, there's always a story there.
Let me give you one.
There's always a story.
Let me give you one. GMA, the Ghana Medical Association, has hinted of making a demand for their salaries to be pegged against the US dollar. If the government fails to stabilize the Ghana cedi, Now, the government has come under criticism for its inability to check the depreciation of the cedi and the increasing cost of living.
So
now,
this is doctors?
Yes, Dr. Titus Beyo said such a decision would help reduce the exodus of medical.
There's also another one. Colleges of Education staff threaten strike over conditions of service. Then we already know that teachers are on strike. So, well, I thought the MPs, 2 days of parliamentary work.
And I didn't know. You
They said cost of fuel.
You are GM. Can we have 2 days of city CBS? We come Monday and Friday. Then Tuesday, whatever happens over the weekend, we come and talk on Monday.
I wonder whether when he said it, was there a reaction?
Yes,
was it debated?
Yes, Ose Chairman Sabonsu, who is a majority leader, he said the call would have dire consequences on the economy. You listen.
I mean, we are all in this country, we all buy fuel. I will know that fuel prices have indeed gone up. Of course, we may disagree on the cost of it. I relate to the price at international levels. I know that crude price now has gone up, it's escalated dramatically. You do know that. Of course, the other factor we must also admit is the strength of our local currency now. So the combination of the two factors, one must admit. Having said so, Speaker, when we are in dire circumstances, that is when we are called upon to increase productivity. And for a member of parliament to say that we should work in just 2 days in a week, the Speaker, that is a very apocalyptic declaration from the member of parliament. What will be the effect on national productivity? This call that you're making. And what will be the effect on GDP? I think that really is an unfortunate call on us that we should be working for just 2 days in a week. Mr. Speaker, and he says that President Mahama has made a request for people to work from their home. There's only one president in this country, one executive president in this country, and nobody can pretend to share power with that president. Whether it's a former president or a future president.
So that was majority leader Ose Chairman Sabonsu.
Chairman, sir. For somebody who went to tech, who did planning, the guy's English is wild.
Oh.
No. I'm very impressed with this. He's very, very articulate.
Yeah, he is.
Extremely articulate.
Oh, but tech people.
Anyway.
No.
I'm just like he didn't start.
That's like Lego night speaking.
No, like typically people speak who like big English are lawyers and people who did like the arts.
That kind of thing.
Okay,
let's move on. Let's do your money.
Okay, you know what?
Your money is brought to you by CBG. CBG will stand with you. It's the start of a new week.
It is. Well, some people are calling for a 2-day work week. Look, we would all love to be able to, work from home, drive less, for those who are able to, or commute less, should we say, for those who don't drive but still have to take public transport, and public transport fares, as we know, always go up when fuel goes up. So if you are a company owner or manager, anyone who's in charge of your employees, and you can give them some kind of reprieve such that they don't have to commute or drive to work every day, they can save a bit on their transportation, why not do that? Give people a break on having to physically come into the office, because the movement...
I'll tell you something. I spoke to a guy yesterday who's like into programming. He says one of the best things about his job is that if he has a strong computer and he has good electricity, he can work from home.
Charlie.
And he makes a lot of money. So there are some professions that allow for that.
Yes.
But there are some professions like the one you are doing. You have to come.
Oh, we can't call in from home and do.
We can mean internet. That's a barrel.
That was your money brought to you by CBG. CBG, we stand with you.
A bank that supports you. A bank that cares for you. Hand in hand, we stand with you. So lift your head up, big dreams are waiting. We'll walk with you wherever you go.
Rasta man could be the president. But we know they agree, make them go schooling. But you go check the music player of the president. The man be jamming some hard Lucky Dube and Alpha Blondie. So what is your story? You like their music, remember them fondly. But when they choose school, you deprive them only. You win parliament, say them smoking only. Don't forget all the contributions that they make in the arts. That when he got nominated, they tell that apart. Hypocrisy, I see them and I sit down and laugh. Protect the basic rights of your people, do your part. Oh, I didn't talk too much. I didn't talk too much. Oh, I didn't talk too much. I didn't talk too much. Oh, I didn't talk too much. If you didn't talk too much, sit them down, make them know. Oh, what them do, no be good. I didn't talk too much. If you didn't talk too much, if you didn't talk too much, sit them down, make them know. Oh, what them do, no be good. I didn't talk too much. Say I didn't talk too much. I didn't talk too much.
Oh, one love, pure logoria. Sugar to know the aim of Seporia.
8:37. Still listening to the Citi Breakfast Show. Comments are welcome on 0549 986 996.
You think me, I focus on nowhere.
Let's go through some of the comments that have come in.
Yes, Jones in La says, good morning, Nathan. Our rich culture, which defines us as people from this side of the globe, was at its best at this year's Hogbe. What even killed me was the dominant display of our kente. Very historic event worth documenting. As for the Bawumia being booed, he invited it and he got it. Okay. CBS, having listened to the audio just played on the Hogbe Chocho Festival, I think he attracted the boos to himself. His speech was out of context. He used any platform given to him for campaign. I totally agree with Nathan. I'm Simon from Ashaiman. Okay, honestly, I couldn't relate with the relevance of our VP's message to the Hogbe Chocho Festival. He sounded to be replaying a dead football match on a basketball court. Wrong message on a right platform. Okay, good morning, Team City. Dr. Bawumia must change his speechwriter. They're letting him down. This was not a campaign platform. Missed opportunity to send a message of unity and potential for tourism. He should stop this. It's quite disappointing. This is Eric from Dansoman. Can we be spared the Bawumia speech, please? We want to hear a vice president, not a politician comparing records. It is sad. Okay. Edmund Yao Azameti says, I'm happy 3 kings met at one festival to build more unity and love. In fact, there were more than 3. A lot of them. But Dr. Baueconomics should take Ghanaians seriously. What is the impact on the Ghanaian citizen in this current time? I will go and start a business back home starting next year. Okay. Emmanuel Intadi says, did the vice president actually say all these things at a traditional festival celebration? What a joke. Okay. David in Kaswa says, this fine Bawumia man has ended up making the end of himself. He sounds very childish and out of touch in the world, not in touch with the people at all. Why didn't the vice president tell them that his government also has borrowed and saddled Ghanaians with more debt than any other government? This is Grandpa Ashaiman Zinu. As Masari Intadi says, hi City, why didn't the Veep also mention that the government has borrowed more than all other governments put together? Why didn't he say that this government has plunged the nation into the worst economic situation we've ever seen? Okay. Sickening. Everything is politicized in Ghana. Can't we be sensitive to the times? Abba. Hey. That's Florence Abba. She actually typed it.
It's part of
the comment. Okay. Mrs. Clue says, Bernard and team, I just don't know why people keep inviting the vice president to their programs. Oh, the other traditional leaders' invitations were enough. Vice president's power. If someone writes a speech for you, don't you go through and edit it? Their hearts have been hardened, and we know the end of such leaders. Michael in Weja says, good morning, Bernard and Co. What the vice president said, will it solve the hardship that we're in, or will it put food on our table? Let's see how you're going to solve the economic situation we're in, and our politicians should stop the comparison. The vice president's speech at the Hogbe Chocho Festival over the weekend clearly indicates that the government doesn't feel and understand the seriousness of the economic situation in the country. People are really suffering. Now I understand why the country seems to be on autopilot. It's not funny anymore. That's Yao in Tema.
The president.
E.K. Elikblin from Nungwa says, I think the vice president and his speechwriters lack the creativity in coming up with meaningful speeches for each occasion. I keep hearing the same thing from the vice each time he speaks. If you even want to do politics at Hogbe Chocho, mention physical, specific things you've done in the area, not imaginary things to the people.
Hypocrisy, I see them and I sit down and laugh.
More messages are welcome on 0549 986 996.
A friend of mine sent me a very angry message on yesterday, and I said, you know what? It's Sunday, let me watch my football. I don't want to deal with this. But it sort of kept coming up. And this is somebody who used to be a journalist, but she's now doing work elsewhere. She says, Bernard, we must call for some price regulations. There are people selling things at cut-throat prices. Egg farmers produce at 15 cedis a crate, but the farm gate price is 38 cedis because retailers are making super profits. This has pushed the Poultry Farmers Association to increase. Government alone is not the issue. Milk from 5 to 7 cedis. Why? The company should announce their prices and the markup, and those extorting should be stopped. The Minister of Agri should intervene. Something must be done. I was just watching Saleh's second goal, and I said, Charlie, why are you sending me? Why are you worrying me? I'm in the morning. Don't kind of disturb me. But people are saying they are angry. And obviously, if you listen to the voices of the people on the streets on Saturday, you can tell that there's a lot of, these are very difficult times. And some of them, of course, they weren't that many, but they articulated some of the issues that are affecting people in terms of cost of living. And I don't know what you make of the MP, though.
I don't even want to comment on the MP.
Why?
I don't even want to comment on the MP. See, because he should know that. I'm sure he would have thought about what he said after he said it and realized that, Charlie, did I actually say this? Based on the responses. But things are hard for people, and I think if you look up what they were saying on Saturday during the protest, the sense I got was a lot of them were frustrated by what seems to be helplessness in stemming the tide from the perspective of central government. Like you just read the message, the person is talking about pricing and whatnot, and I keep asking the question as well. We talk about the BDCs and fuel. You read the Economic Times. And the BOG said they're going to do something about it.
But job scarcity on the rise, fuel prices to surge further as BDCs to sell at going exchange rate.
Yes.
BOG likely to tighten policy rate further. And
that's what I'm saying. So there seems to be the government or the people in charge, they don't have any other options, so they can't do anything. BDC say they need 400 million a month. Government can, the BOG can only provide 30% of it. So apparently they can only provide like $100 and something million every month. So the BDCs have to go and find the rest from somewhere to go and purchase the fuel.
Probably at a higher cost.
Exactly. So we keep having that imbalance with our currency as it is. So prices are changing by the week. You cannot, nobody can budget anymore.
No.
That's the issue. Nobody can budget. And for a lot of Ghanaians who live by day and those who also plan by week or by month, they've had to make all kinds of adjustments over the past 2 or 3 months. And it does not look like there's an end in sight. So you put all of that together and you get a very frustrated citizenry. And on Saturday, some of them went out there to express that angst and frustration that they feel with the government. Some decided to support using social media because that is what they can do. Some decided to use other means. Okay, but what cannot be looked down on is the fact that these are trying times for Ghana. You cannot say that this is a good time for you if you're a Ghanaian. Well, some could. But even for the super rich, they make money from business. Their businesses will be hit in a certain way. Nobody escapes this. Just that perhaps they are better resourced to survive this period than most people would. But if you look at the situation we are in and then you look at our mixed numbers, for instance, multiple indicator, the clusters. If you look at the population and housing census we did, if you look at the numbers that came from there, if you look at the Ghana Statistical Service recently giving us poverty numbers, where we're moving up to 5 to 8 million or so people being legitimately poor. If you look at the number of people who statistically are considered hungry in this country, you put all of those things together and then add the economic situation we are in. It is not a good time to be a Ghanaian.
I tell you.
It is not a good time to be a Ghanaian. Nobody escapes this. So I watched and followed the demonstration over.
But were you surprised that we didn't have as many people as you would have thought?
I've never been about numbers when it comes to protest. Some of the most significant protests have been done by people, by individuals. There's a reason why China has banned that image of the individual standing in front of the armored tank at Tiananmen. It's one person. But that image basically represents democracy against their system. They don't want to see it.
They don't want to see it.
It's just one person. So I have never really equated mass numbers with protest. For me, it's not something I put together. If you get thousands, fine. If you get one person, fine. It's still somebody expressing a sentiment about the society he or she lives in.
But is the government listening? Because I think in June or July there was one demonstration where our team walked with them throughout the demonstration, and they were talking about hardships and things are hard. I think it was June or July. The one that Bernard Mona, Sami.
Yes, the one that I remember there were a few side issues that popped
and
up.
The people were very eloquent in expressing all their concerns, but things have actually gotten worse.
Yes. And that's because from where I sit, this government has gotten away with paying attention to these things by virtue of saying
it's happening everywhere.
It's happening everywhere. One, two, by telling itself, and I disagree with that thought that they have, that the voices of dissent are political voices. And so what?
Oh, no, they are partisan voices.
Sorry, partisan voices. And so what?
But are they?
No, I'm just saying.
Even if they are,
that's what I'm saying. So if they are, and so what? Yes. That's exactly my point.
Yeah,
and
but
so
no,
what?
If it's partisan, then they think they can use their party's supporters to quell that.
Yeah.
So if they feel it's a partisan instigated agitation, then they know that it's fair game. It's politics.
Which is why there's never a solution. Because the solution then does not become, okay, let's actually sit down and look at our numbers and listen to what these people are saying. The solution then becomes, okay, hey, party, come. These people have organized 300 people, organized 400 people.
And say you support us.
Say you support us, which is what we end up having rather than an actual solution. And that is why we keep moving from one level of distress to the other. Because
but that's where your point about the numbers comes in. Don't you think that if Accra had, like Kumi Preko, I was 95, I was writing BC.
Yes.
Like you could feel something was happening in the town. It was big.
Yes.
And Rawlings was feared, but these guys defied him. They came out of the, they said, we are tired. And after the VAT was suspended, later reviewed and reduced, the people won. So, so my point is, if Ghanaians want change within a government, yes, we vote every 4 years. But if Ghanaians want a government to do something, don't you think they need to get more interested in protests?
Yes, we need to.
It's almost like only few people do it. It's like, oh yeah, we support you, but you just go and do it.
Yes, but that's what I'm saying, that this particular generation of ours is protest shy.
Protest in what form?
No, protest
physically hitting the streets.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
But social media provides another avenue.
That's why.
But I'm saying the reason why social media is a bit more comfortable for Ghanaians who feel like it gives them more ammunition or gives them more of it's more of a safe space.
Thank you. That's
okay.
it.
A lot of them are also worried about suppression because our security services or institutions have not proven to be the best handlers of crowd control when you look at it. So there is always that feeling of, for the people who would normally go and protest, unless they're extremely hardcore, they would resort to safer spaces, which is something we need to look at. But I'm also saying these things grow over time. Okay, you will get to that point where people will become a bit more sophisticated. The institutions also need to become a bit more sophisticated. I, for one...
So, but the other point... Okay, let me... I saw I'm interviewing... Like,
go ahead.
This is my thinking. So, people forced Rawlings to change the VAT.
The VAT at the time, yeah.
Possibly because when he looked at the people on the street and he saw the way... To 95 is a year before an election.
Yes.
Okay. People have hit the street in their numbers.
Thousands.
VAT timing was wrong. He withdrew it and then repackaged it and bought it in 97 or 96 after the election. Now, the MPP, we've had many protests, but they've not... I don't think they've done anything. Could it be that maybe they don't translate the social media angst into real people? They feel, somebody can say something and say anything. Well, since we have to meet through the people. So, if they have only 200 people coming or 1,000 people, Charlie, let's go on with business as usual. So maybe the people of Ghana haven't really shown that they are unhappy beyond the little complaint and things. And they are like, you know what, everybody's suffering. So yeah, whining is part of the life. Let's just live and do what we have to do. But you see, there are people who are saying, do specific things. Cut down the size of your government. Stop giving yourself free fuel.
Have they heard it?
That's my point. Maybe, you see, there's a difference between hearing and hearing. So they are only hearing the whining. But, or maybe we haven't put the demands more, I don't know. It's like, things are not changing. And you see, you can't say that the only way for things to improve is to vote at elections. You could always say, look, you can like sack some minister, you can resign, you can do all these things, you can change a policy, you can reverse your... You don't see a lot of that. But it's almost like what we want to do, we will do it. If you don't like it, wait till 2024 and then show what you want to do.
Let's
you get me?
It's good you brought up Kumi Preko. If you follow the history of protests in this country, we've had Dumso, we've had Fix the Country, we've had all kinds of AFAG, Occupy,
Let My Vote Count.
Let My Vote Count. Bar Kumi Preko, which significantly changed policy. Which protest in this country has actually changed policy again?
Good question.
Good question.
And we can go back all the way. And we can go back from 96 post Kumi Preko.
I haven't done the research.
Yeah,
prior to
those who have done the research can share.
Post 92,
they
I
can
think
share.
only Kumi Preko.
They can share with us.
But they call this one Kumi Preko.
Reloaded.
No. The name is perhaps a recourse to a time where the country marched
appealing to that same
sense. You don't need the numbers necessarily, but also context is key.
But if these are unprecedented economic times,
yes,
don't you think more Ghanaians should show a bit more concern? Like
the
fuel price is 23 cedis a liter for diesel.
Yes.
Guys, and like your currency in a week, you move from 4 cedis to 6 cedis to 8 cedis to 14.
But
you know what I'm saying? Like bread. Look, a friend of mine went to buy the bread that we like. The bread is 200 cedis, 20 cedis a loaf. Like how is this going to multiply? If that young guy who gave him 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish, that guy, if he brought that bread, it was 1,000 cedis bread. How?
But in 1995, Bernard, you did not have Twitter to express your displeasure with anything, or Facebook. You literally had to go and walk in the street to get.
So do people want to vent or people want change? You see, they
probably want both, but
because the social media thing is just, I'm not discounting it. It's a good opportunity to say what to be part of the national discourse. In those days, you had to go to GBC or some radio station.
And how many people could do that?
So now everybody can speak.
Yes.
But who is being heard?
That's the thing.
And also, if you look at it, another thing that has killed the protest spirit, unfortunately, which we need more of. I'm saying we need more of the protest spirit. But another thing is the self-interest perspective of it. Half the people who led the most significant protests of the past 4 years are in government. Of the past 10 years are in government.
They occupy a lot of them.
A lot of them are in government.
Most of them are occupying government.
So basically, from the perspective of outsiders who might not necessarily have political interest, they now see protest as a medium where people with eyes on getting into government, this is an avenue where they stake a claim. So if you are a leader of a demonstration and you go out there, most likely that if the government changes, you are going to become a minister, you're going to become a CEO of some SOE, you're going to sit on some board. So people are naturally very distrustful.
They're very wary.
They're very distrustful is more. They're not even wary anymore. They're very distrustful because we've gone through a phase where some of the most respected pillars of society, whom people did not necessarily put party colors on, have gone through a phase where they led people towards a certain line
and then
have gotten the opportunity to run the country and have turned out to be some of the worst that people have seen. So
people are like, we will not be tricked anymore.
We will not be tricked anymore. So you have to stand with people you have to bear with when they are like a bit apprehensive, as you say, about just joining anybody. So yeah, Martin Kpebu is our guy, but do I really what you ask? I know he doesn't have any interest, but does he really not have any interest?
But does it matter?
Bernard, they said, but you see, yes, you are suffering, but people's actions are like this. I will not march with you and suffer with you for you to come and benefit.
So that you alone you chop.
You alone you chop, because the people who marched.
The just come back.
and it's something you cannot remove. Anytime I listen to the people who complain about the marches they were on, my good friend, I know you mind me mentioning his name, Toyin Naya. He was on every single protest. If you meet Toyin today and tell Toyin, let's go on a protest, Toyin will remove his horseman shoe and spray it. Toyin will not come.
Why?
And there are several others like that because they feel used.
They've been used.
Yes, and they feel like who is there to trust? Because these were the people who did not look like they had any political interest.
But who said that one change of government can change your life? And why did you believe that? Our struggle is against a political class that have put their interests and the interests of foreign companies and other people ahead of us as citizens. So we need to understand what we are into. You are not, MPP is the party in power now. They may lose the next election and somebody else will come, but the struggle continues.
But
that's what people need to understand. The struggle is not just to get a new government to come in. But the struggle is for the political class to realize that you must put the citizens and their needs ahead of your own personal comfort.
And I'm saying the difficulty in people, the difficulty for people who are traumatized by what happened over the past 6 or 7 years is this, that we moved from a protest culture that was led by hardcore politicians, partisan people.
You allow yourself to be deceived.
No, hold on.
You think that the people who were protesting, that's my point, is that, and protests are made up of different coalitions.
Yes.
So there are people who are there for partisan interests. Some are there just because of economic interest. Some are there because they just feel they are tired. So we can't assume that everybody is there for the same reason. But so somebody is. So I'm the fact that somebody jumped on it. So even with CJA and the protest now, there are some people who are there because they want to come to power. But there are some people who will also be there just because they feel that the political class needs to be told that you need to change the way you do things.
But Aloski, here is a situation where we have Basheshi. Everybody who has been at the forefront of whichever group that has led protest in the past decade has held a government position.
Kwesi Pratt has not. Kweku Bako has not. Sheshe has not.
Yes, but Sheshe, no. But if we are to be,
I'm using Kumi Preko guys. In fact, there are few of them.
But let's be truthful to what has happened. If you look at Kwesi Pratt and Kweku Bako over the past decade, the language has changed.
Yeah, but they are not in frontline politics.
No, but I am saying that the only person who has not changed tone is Sheshe. Sheshe of 2022 is Sheshe of 1995. We cannot say Kwesi Pratt of 2022 or Kweku Bako of 2022 is the same person. Sheshe is the same.
Well, but
you know, let's not beat about the bush.
Okay, but you're not even getting my point. I'm saying that when people lead protests, every protest, they all have different objectives for joining the protest. So you can't say that because somebody rode onto the thing to become a politician, I won't do protest again. That's what I'm saying. I know you have a simplistic view. Because you went in because you wanted genuine change. Somebody went in because they wanted to come into office. But it's a coalition of different forces. Even political parties, we are not all in for the same purpose. There are some people in political parties who don't want post. They just like the party. If you go to some political party, there are some people that you never hear of. There are some people who are secret supporters. So my point is that the fact that somebody rode on a protest to get into office does not necessarily mean protests are no longer good. So I won't do it again.
No, but what I'm saying is that interest in protests are also emotional. People might attend a protest that you are involved in, as compared to people might attend, how many people would attend a protest I am involved in. It's purely emotional. My emotional feelings towards Bernard Avle guide me to think that this is how I feel about Godfred Akoto. Is that I don't think that Godfred Akoto's protest is one I want to attend.
Maybe I should do a protest on Galamsey.
Yeah, you should.
Maybe we should do a protest
how many people
on Galamsey. Stop Galamsey now.
Yeah.
And see whether people join me.
Yeah.
Maybe. You know, we'll march from where we march. We'll go and do it in one of the Galamsey towns.
But I think we really, our political class and also those of us as citizens, really need to take a closer look at our protest culture and the people who lead our protests and also the persons who lead. You see, it's never wrong to declare what your intentions are. And I think that is the problem we've had, where we've had a lot of people who do not declare their intentions, but come under the guise of, I'm just like you. I'm interested in A, B, C, D. As soon as the objective is reached, then they actually show you. It's fair in this country, it's fair in a democracy to say that I belong to party A, but on this particular thing, I am going to protest with you and go on that. You would discard too many citizens over the past decade with our attitude towards protest and the self-interest angles.
No wahala.
Still listening to the Citi Breakfast Show. So, a minute after 9, we'll take a very quick break. When we come back, we have more for you. Please stick and stay. Don't go anywhere.
This is the Citi Breakfast Show, the city's biggest conversation.
Glovo is the app that delivers anything you want from your city. When you work late, treat yourself. Order a Glovo and enjoy jollof, fufu, chicken or pizza. Or on days your snacks and drinks from Glovo and keep the party going. No diapers left? Order a Glovo and save the day. With Glovo, you can order easily and track your delivery until it arrives at your doorstep. Download the Glovo app now. Order food, groceries or anything you want. We deliver in minutes.
They had this Nigerian guy in their class, so like they bring you home too and you are eating, no? He said, Vivian, this is your bread. It tastes like some bread that my auntie gave me last week. Let me taste. It's the one. It's the one.
Wow. Vivian Carlo is joining us. Vivian, hi, good morning.
Hey, Nathan, it's been a while since I came here. Alaski?
Yeah.
No, you big man.
Yeah?
I like your shada. Cox,
I love you too. Hello, Kuship, as Bernard will call you.
Yeah,
hello, Kuship. In the olive green.
Thank you.
Green is good. Green signifies environmental protection.
Thank you.
It signifies good things.
Development and growth.
Yeah.
CO.
Yep. And the environment, trees and everything.
Yes.
I'm not sure.
So are you wearing green until the stop Galamsey? Is that your protest?
I'm protesting. I'm wearing green, blue. And which other color is earthy? Brown.
Until the stop Galamsey.
Rust orange.
You should have gone with that on Friday.
Where did you go?
We went to the municipality.
Okay.
We went to the eastern region.
And so this is after Asmankese?
Yes. And this is where the spot we were to, not so far from Techiman as well. So,
but not the BA Techiman. This is the Eastern Techiman.
Yes. And our mission was to look at the levels of devastation of Galamsey on the environment, like cocoa farmers and all that, and then its impact on employment as well.
Okay.
So it got to a spot where. From the roadside where the mining is happening, every minute or so, I'm not exactly, between 13 to 17, all going into the forest.
To
go and do the Galamsey.
You could see them
physically. They have the shovels, the basins.
They were just
going.
An epidemic of...
And all in the Wellington boots.
They are Ayata or gold.
Ayata or gold. Ayata or gold.
Are you serious?
I'm telling you, and these are people from all walks of life. There are two guys I met who couldn't even speak Tree. They said they were from northern Ghana.
Okay.
Some were from everywhere, Volta, some from the place itself, everywhere.
And they were holding shovels.
Shovels, basins.
Riding
so
in
they are the small boys of mining. So when the big guys, those with the excavators finish and everything, they go and look for the gold dust one.
The remnants.
Yes. And then that Galamsey, whatever. So they have the detectors, they move around. When it picks the mineral, they stop there and start digging. We have those ones.
But wait, I feel like you just...
But Vivian, wait a minute. We're fighting this. Yes. We've got a whole task force. We've got military. We've got Red Sec. Everybody's on the ground. You're telling me that in broad, blatant daylight, you saw this kind of movement Friday
around is it 2-ish or so?
2 in the afternoon.
Yes, Friday.
Right, sunny afternoon.
Right.
Were there any kind of security services around?
You can just, the security is the Galamsey people who look at you like, hey, don't even try anything. So at some point you have to hide and shoot.
So they're threatening you.
Because you have the threatening look.
But these are the individuals.
So
maybe the Galamsey they are fighting is the big scale, small scale. I don't even know what it is.
So there are different, grades of it. The big guys with the excavators. And now the excavator Galamsey is big. People, you hear the stakeholders say, those who are around the whole saying that now the Chinese or Ghanaians are bringing excavators. It's true. So now you see a lot of where we went, there were a lot of excavators
just there.
They were working. We have, tonight on CNN, we have footage of, excavators being used. And these young as 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24.
Now, we heard the lands minister announce that excavators are going to have to be registered. Well, he did say with the districts, right? We don't know how far.
I don't know whether these have been registered.
How far we progress. Because, well, they're obviously working giddy, so maybe not registered the way we were hoping they would be.
The thing is happening
in broad daylight.
And one of the gentlemen who took me around was saying they run in shifts. So they have a shift system. So maybe some will start around 6 in the morning all the way to the afternoon. So the people I saw were going for the late shift,
second shift.
So maybe they'll do 2 all the way to 8, and then there's a final,
there's an overnight shift.
And this is what everybody is doing there. So these 3 shifts, they come. And they are they're on their motorbikes in a hurry to go into the bush, go and mine and come back.
So is it that they're not going to school?
They're not going to school. There's a guy I spoke to our place and he said he went to school, actually, secondary school. But when he finished, he didn't get a job. He was doing the washing. So they have a group of who do the washing. That they put it into the wash. It's like a milling machine, but big. And then they wash and then the gold comes out. Those people are paid 150 cedis a day. He used to do that in the Western region. But he realized that those who do the excavators, they pay them between 400 and 500 cedis a day to the Eastern region. And now he's doing the excavator.
So he learned how to drive
he said his master showed him how to do it. He gets 450 cedis a day. And he tells me, why would he not do this one instead of going to do some other work or farm?
Yeah,
it's not the farming, there's nothing in it. So 450 a day, his rent is 80 cedis a month. If he takes his rent, food,
Look at that.
He sorted, and this guy tells me he's from the northern region. It's called something Adam.
So he moved to Western.
He was born, yes, he was born in Bono, moved to Western at a point, and now he's in Eastern region.
Okay.
So let's listen. So this is Gala guys.
Okay.
What did you way say? I go to say I hear na move to me anya.
It depends on assassin.
Assassin no ye pie or gold. No be to sign.
Well, she 8 hours with me. It be at 20 pounds.
20 pounds after 8 hours. And ye crowd when you.
Oh, go 8 hours with me. Be 5.
Now, oh, yeah, excavator. Now, oh, yeah, washing. Now, then, what trade excavator? One chair.
No, I stand on young baby.
Into where do you?
Oh, 23.
Into I don't know where you move. I don't know. You say I have a cocoa farm. So, I don't know one cocoa farm. I don't know. Na,
I mean,
anymore. Now we say we treat excavator a day a amount.
Oh, so we are age man. So upon and 12 money 400
a day, 400 and 40 cedis. 400 a day.
On every day be 400.
Wow, into to me how many days in a week?
6 days.
6 times 4. And you say 1 man in a week. See, one frame for.
Me one cocoa.
Frame cocoa and I hold out. Until on for 4 no so mo ye we na mo ye farm ya na mo school na mo
e bi mo ye we na bi mo so school na
now why na introduce you into we yeah then na oba shame obi na echewa na how did you get into it?
Na mo
western fa
ye washing ni bi ye washing na mi ja na machine
the excavator ni washing why no nye scam.
Oh, machine excavator.
Washing for your drama.
Oh, you see, I almost say, oh, yeah, wash 8 hours, we are 150 cedis.
It is your excavator for your washing for any 1 month for now.
Security man for now, almost money on the ones of my security man for our machine.
The excavator for now. Actually, now what's na excavator who ye trees na who digging no so say I don't know over to me come.
So very careful, you man now. You say you may be accident to. Very careful, you man now.
Yeah, yet to say accident to me bamu point mo to me winning niama we hu bi da say obi a oni ne yejuma ade no collapse na we hu bi da.
Say machine any accident na.
Baby, I'm digging no baby accident about what experiences baby since we started.
Yeah, no, they are not in times. And I know to say we need the another accident in times you by almost bomb and power and run down. They almost friend get to I don't know. Times by when they are not.
And they almost digging now, more call
and say run down any machine I'm using. And I am telling you by when they
see machine.
And we use excavator and the accident to be enemies.
So, Jalbo like it. I think from you guys, yeah, all over. I
do. I speak to you.
I swear you got.
No, she listen to
Have you heard me speaking tree before?
Never.
Even mentioning the tree names in stories,
But who will teach us?
Exactly. That were in Accra, so
Thank you. My parents spoke Ghana with me in English.
No, I think
that
it's
is
nice.
it.
So will you show this on TV?
Yes, so we're showing this tonight on CNN.
We also went Wellington books.
Oh yes. Hey, Kokui, Lalowski. At a point, I nearly sank into water. You see it? Yes, because you see some of the forest areas when you go, that maybe because of the rains or whatever, the sand has washed into those pits, those shallow ones. You wouldn't know it's a pit. So you sink, you get into it.
That is how.
So at a point, yeah, we were moving. Not knowing there was a pit.
You were walking.
We were walking,
one leg.
and the camera guy, he was flying. The way my heart could.
If I want to die, this is not going to
die. It has to die in a crowd.
You cannot exit the game like this.
In the game.
Wow.
So it's pretty scary. And tonight we'll show that tonight the concentration, it will be for 3 days. So tonight the concentration is on the levels of devastation. So on the environment, on the water bodies, and then of course the farms, and then this, what do you call it? The danger zone they've created. So the place has become like a construction site.
Yeah.
With
At
all
any
these
pits.
and these pits are like the least height you get is like 8 feet. I'm not exaggerating. It's dangerous. Like when you get there.
So they dig that deep.
They dig that deep.
Wow.
They dig that deep. So you have that, and you have water in those things. So you see it and think, oh, this is just, but it's so deep. Fortunately, the one that I nearly sank, I'm sure it'll be like 2 feet. It won't be that, But and it's muddy, clay. So if you slip and
So let me ask you, from the thing you are showing, how would they fix the land? If they want to repair the land, what would they do?
So there was a part we went to. They had done a bit of reclamation. They had brought back, gotten sand back into those, because the sand they've dug out, they are still sitting there. So you have huge heaps, like when you go to a mining.
Heaps of sand.
Yeah, so they have to put it back in and bring in this soil that you with nutrients and all that, and then go back into
so like land reclamation.
Proper, they have to do proper. And we went to a place, the chief was telling us, oh, they've spoken to them to do the reclamation, but they are not doing it.
It means that we'll be hungry very soon.
Yes, and you see, tonight when that will show on the river one, now they mine in the riverbed. Because they say that's where you get more of the mineral.
So they go into the river with their machine.
With the machine. So there's a place we
everything.
went to. The name of the river is Adensu River.
Adensu.
They have Chale Agbile.
Wow.
And then they've diverted a bit of it to the back somewhere.
So they divert the river so they can harvest.
So they cut it off
from the riverbed.
From the riverbed. And then there's the Pram River, brown, all destroyed. Also, they went into the riverbed, and this Pram River connects to the Brim River. So see the Brim River, the way it's become. These are all.
So the tributaries to the main rivers have also been
all gone, destroyed, all gone.
But do the people buy water to drink? How did they?
There was a lady I met. She's a cocoa farmer, and then also I think palm as well. She's saying now they have to buy sachet water.
They're the people who live in the town.
People who live in the town, because honestly, when you see the water, you can't drink that water, and you can't use it to farm as well.
So are they powerless against this? They've been speaking out, but they've
been speaking, and everybody's moving into it, because there was a cocoa farmer who calculated this for me. He said, he gave me a vivid description. A sack of cocoa, when you are paid, that money won't even buy you a gallon of oil.
But the galamsey money.
The galamsey money is so much. They are making good money. So if his kids or kids of his friends or his friends, they give them those two options, people will move to this way, because there's no incentive for a cocoa farmer to still do the cocoa. And we have to sit down and take a conscious look with this thing. Because if you are saying, let's promote agriculture, if we all know that our main source of revenue, one of them is cocoa, and the incentive for people who want to go into agriculture or cocoa farmers is so low, what would push you to stay into it? These are the realities we need to look at.
Did you see any of the task force chasing anybody?
Please, I didn't see anything. There was a guy we met. He said earlier in the day, the MP himself, together with some police people, came there, but we never saw that. There was a community. I think the community is called Duchi. So we're told.
What's the name of the constituency?
This is Kwabibre municipality. Yes. But we were told that the day before, the community, they blocked the roads from excavators going there because they said enough is enough.
Okay.
And if you see that community, there's nothing that even shows there's gold there. Poor.
It means that until the community people themselves,
like we are seeing with some chiefs, forget it.
We can't stop.
Forget it. It's what it is. Till they all rise up and say, listen, this we cannot tolerate. We are not getting much from it. And you know, where we went, the gentleman tells me that most of the people who are doing it are not even from there. So the community is not making anything from the mining.
From mining. Wow. Vivian, thank you.
So
tonight
what time?
is on CNN.
So tonight we're on CNN. It's a 3-part.
What is CNN?
City Newsroom, our major news bulletin on TV called City Newsroom. We are on tonight at 8 o'clock. This is a 3-part, report. So the first part will look at the levels of devastation on the environment, on water security, and all that. The second part will look at the impact on agriculture, and then the third part will look at the employment, the cocoa farms, and all that.
I hope you show when you almost fell into that.
Oh yes, I think we'll be in the first part, which is today's too.
You almost fell into the Galamsey.
Tally. It called me.
With your facial covering.
Oh no, I went down that way.
Thank you so much. That was Vivian Kai Loco. So tonight, tune into the City Newsroom, 8 p.m. on City TV for a deeper look as part of a 3-part series. So let's do the City Breakfast Show.
Okay, well, let me give you some news from Surfline. Now, some people love to visit their sweet-smelling perfume shops in France from their phones. Some like to coach their football teams from the comfort of their couch. Nathan, I know you're one. Some people appreciate comedy shows that make happy tears roll down their cheeks. We all need a bit of laughter, right? Especially in this day and age. Well, Surfline knows this, so they're making our happy places easy to find with their fast data. Just top up more or get a Surfline device and experience countless uninterrupted hours of fun. You also qualify for a free voucher to Surfline partners like X-Men, Cheesy Pizza, Doman Foods, and Body Basics. So whether your happy place is in a front row seat at the Grammys or you're like me, who enjoys visiting my crush's IG every minute, okay, that's not me. Then Surfline is for you. Top up or get a Surfline device today. Surfline, better together. And with the all-new Ghana Pay mobile money service, you can send and receive money at 0 transaction fees. You can also pay bills, buy airtime and data, transfer money to and from your bank accounts, and do so much more. Register by dialing *707# and visit any branch of your selected bank to activate your wallet. You can also download the Ghana Pay app from the Play Store or App Store. Ghana Pay, your money your way. Ghana Pay is a GIPS and Ghana Association of Banks collaboration.
Your thoughts and comments on 0549986996. Kokui is still here with me. Kokui, do you know what day is November 14th? You know,
well, I only know because I have a synopsis in front of me. It's World Diabetes Day.
Yes, World Diabetes Day is November 14th. Now, it's been happening every year since 1991.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now the International Diabetes Federation and the World Health Organization, they came together to set up World Diabetes Day. So it's a recent child. Let's say about 31 or so years. Now it was put together to respond to the growing concerns about diabetes. Right, there are so many diabetics. Because remember a few weeks ago you ran into a lady who was claiming she was diabetic. All of that. Now, as part of their CSR activity, Brighter Purpose Group Limited, importers of Splenda and Splenda Stevia, I hope I got the name right, is joining the IDF in a campaign called the Education to Protect Tomorrow, and is to mark this year's World Diabetes Day by creating awareness of the disease and the need for people to live healthy lifestyles, because we know diabetes is it's a lifestyle thing. Yeah. We've been joined by Mrs. Mabna Webb, who is MD of Brighter Purpose Group Limited. They are in Community 1 Tema, and we'll have a nice chat about what they are doing in diabetes and related matters. Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to the Citi Breakfast Show.
Thank you.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. And yourself?
Yes, we are fine. We are fine. We're fine. Let's start off from the very top. Let's talk about Brighter Purpose Group. What do you guys do? Somebody's listening to us. It's the first time they are hearing of Brighter Purpose Group. What do you guys do?
So Brighter Purpose Group is, first of all, let me say a good morning to your listeners and good morning to all of you in the studio. I enjoy your show very much. Yes. Brighter Purpose Group is a consulting company. It's a financial consulting company, also a management consulting company. And recently, one of the projects that we've taken on is to bring Splenda to Ghana to be the sole distributors, not just Ghana, but the sub-Saharan African region. Splenda is actually manufactured in the US. It's a US company that makes it. And so this is their official entry into Ghana. Some people have been bringing bits and pieces from, retailers from stores in the US, but this time we are leading the manufacturers of the product here into our region.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful.
All right, so Splenda and Splenda Stevia, those are the products you import. What exactly are they?
So Splenda and Splenda Stevia are sugar substitutes. Sugar substitutes, 0 calories. What that means is that when you take these, they're sweet. They're very sweet, actually. In fact, the original Splenda, which is the yellow box, well, we're on radio, so you can't see, but the original...
But they're live on Facebook,
yes,
so people can
okay.
see.
So the original Splenda is actually 600 times sweeter than sugar. So a little bit goes a long way. And the Stevia is 350 times sweeter than sugar. So both of these are sweeter than sugar, but they are 0 calories, meaning that when you take them, when you eat Splenda or Splenda Stevia, your body does not recognize that you've taken in sugar. Sugar, of course, comes with calories, and calories is what brings about the excess weight and the diseases that we've been, trying to avoid, especially diabetes, and that's why we're here today.
Okay, so how did you join the campaign against diabetes? I mean, obviously you're selling a sweetener that is, 0 calorie and helps people who can't take sugar because of diabetic issues. But how did you get involved with that?
Good. So the campaign came before the business. Because I've had a history of gestational diabetes with my pregnancies. And actually yesterday we were on our DOM program, award, and we were educating about gestational diabetes. So I had it several times, and one of the things about gestation is a very common pregnancy complication. About 10% of all pregnancies, have this complication. And the problem with it is that if you're diagnosed with gestational diabetes, you stand a 50% chance of becoming a diabetic. And so I actually, moved from the gestational diabetes, and then I became pre-diabetic, and right now I'm insulin resistant. And so this was something that when I was pregnant in the US, and I was living in the US then, my doctors recommended this to me because, as an alternative to sugar. And so that's what I was taking. And when I was told that I'd become insulin resistant, I was in Ghana and I couldn't find it. So that was the time that I decided that why not bring this product into our country so that other people who need it will benefit from it, because otherwise, what is your alternative? Eating bland food or eating tasteless food, or cheating and eating sugar to raise your blood glucose level.
Wow.
That's how I joined the.
Interesting. So essentially came from a personal place.
That's
from
right.
your own experience. You decided that, you know what, the next person doesn't have to go through what I
That's
went
right.
through. That's amazing.
So who can use these products? Is it only diabetics who can consume Splendor products?
No, everybody can use these products. So from children, adults, pregnant women, everybody can use these products. In fact, and if you're diabetic, then this is your product. But the thing is that if you don't want to become diabetic, this is your product also, because right now there's a whole movement about calorie reduction. And that's part of what we're doing, to be advocates for that type of thing, so that people will become aware that the excess calories from the excess consumption of sugar is plaguing us and bringing about all these unwanted diseases, primarily diabetes. So anybody can use these products. In fact, I recommend it for everybody. Yes.
Okay. All right.
I mean, before we move on, I'm just curious. So how is it used? Just run us through, for example, how it's used practice. So I've bought a box. How do I apply it?
Okay. So whatever you use sugar for, you can use these for as well. So for your cup of tea, for your coffee, if you have to bake, you can use this to bake. So for me, for instance, I don't take sugar at all anymore. So this is what I use for everything, my oatmeal, my auza cocoa, and my kids love it. So they take it as well. My husband, my whole family, even though they don't need it, they use it because we're trying to just, live that healthier option.
And as well, so what's in it? Does it come in packs, sachets?
Yes, so these ones come in sachets. And so for the Splendor Original, they are in 1 gram sachets, and each sachet is equivalent to 2 teaspoons of sugar. So it sweetens as 2 teaspoons of sugar would. The stevia is also in sachets, but those are 2 grams each. And exactly, it's the same requirement. They have each serving size has to sweeten according to what 2 teaspoons of sugar would do, or 2 cubes of sugar.
Okay. So the 14th of November is coming up, World Diabetes Day. So tell us about the day, the celebration, and how you are contributing to commemorating this day.
Okay. So we have a lot of programs lined up. We are visiting radio stations to talk about diabetes awareness and all of that. We're also sponsoring the University of Ghana Medical Center. They have a health talk coming up. They have a public lecture on Friday, the 11th of November. They're going to be speaking about diabetes awareness, because the theme for this year's IDF, International Diabetes Federation campaign, is education to protect tomorrow. And so that is the theme for the talk at the University of Ghana Medical Center. That's on Friday. On Saturday, we're partnering with a local foundation, Health Belt Foundation, who does health screening. And they are going to be screening people at La Paz. So we're going to be raising awareness over there as well.
Okay.
Monday is the D-Day. University of Ghana Medical Center is having a health screening fair as well. And so we're going to partner. We're supporting and sponsoring them with that as well.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And one more. LWAC, Keep Fit Club. We've contacted them, and this was not something that they were aware of. They already had a walk planned for something else, but they're going to actually create something for diabetes for this month, just not to miss the opportunity. So on the 19th, there will be an aerobics class at LWAC, Keep Fit Club.
Just to on the 14th, you're talking about something happening at UGMC.
Yes.
Can you just give us details as to what exactly will be happening there and who can attend? Is it open, that kind of thing?
Yes, it's open to the public. It will be a health screening. So they're going to be screening people for various conditions, but diabetes is the primary thing. But once they're there, I'm sure they'll check blood pressure and all of that, but they'll take, people's glucose levels and that kind of thing. Yes. We will also be there to display our wares and give people a chance to taste. Yes.
Very nice. Okay. So how can I find Splendor and Splendor Stevia? Like, where is it sold, or can it be ordered? How do people get to find it and buy it?
Yeah, so currently we're stocked at Palace malls all across the country. So the most of the Palace shops are in Accra and Tema, but there's one in Kumasi, so you can find that in Kumasi. In Kumasi, we're also at there's a pharmacy called Costa Pharmacy. It's in KJTI, and it's across from the Children's Hospital near Konfanochi Hospital. In Eastern Region, if you're in the Eastern Region, we're with a shop called 99% Health organic health shop, you know, and so you can find them in Koforidua Old Estates. Also, you can find us on Jumia. We are in Kuala, and you can also call us at any time. And I can provide the numbers now if you will. Okay. 020-215-9603. Let me repeat that. 020-215-9603 or 020-012-7380. 020-012-7380. So those are our numbers. Yes.
Okay, so people can call those numbers.
People can call.
Okay, and if they want to buy, they can order.
They can order.
It will be delivered.
Goods, yes, everything we deliver to them. We've actually sent goods to Elubo, to Bolgatanga, all over the country. So yes, yes.
I see. I'm very fascinated by, you know, the fact that all of this is born out of your own personal experience. What would you say to somebody who probably is at that stage, you know, they are also going through this, maybe they may be pregnant and there are these little complications that are popping up? What would you say to them, you know, because some people are there, they think it's a lost cause, nothing can be done to save them, or they feel that they are going down this slope which is leading to a very dangerous place? What would you say to such a person?
I would actually tell them to be encouraged, because interestingly, the very first time I was diagnosed with gestational diabetes, I really wept. I wept because I was like, what am I going to eat? What am I going to do with my life? But I came to find out, you know, it's not the end of the world. In fact, you stand a better chance of living a healthier life once you've been told that these are the things that are, you know, plaguing you. Need to take, you know, steps to manage it. So there's a way. So people, if someone is listening to me right now and they feel like, oh, you know, I don't know what to do or what have you, they should know that there's a way. You can still have a great quality of life if you've been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, which is the most common, and that's the one that is lifestyle induced, and that's the one that you can really, you know, work on to bring, you know, corrections to. So the key thing that I would advise is, one, physical activity. That is a major one. Physical activity is a key to keeping all these diseases at bay.
Okay.
So the recommendation is 30 minutes of some type of physical activity, such as brisk walking, jogging, swimming, what have you, a day, 5 times a week.
I see.
And the 30 minutes, the good thing about it is that you don't need to do all 30 minutes at once. So you can, if you don't have time, you can break it up into either 3 10-minute sessions during the day or 2 15-minute sessions. Yes, so physical activity is key. And 2, our carbohydrate intake, because carbohydrate breaks down into glucose ultimately.
Sugars,
so, and for us in, you know, this part of the world, most of our foods are all carbohydrates, like the rices. We love the rices, you know, the bankus and all of that. We have to control our portions. So if you have a plate, if you imagine your plate, whether round plate or square plate, and you split it into 4, that's there's an organization called myplate.org. It shows you how to, you know, it's very easy to remember. So if you look at your plate and you split it into 4, 2 of those sides, so the half of the plate should be your vegetables and your fruits. And the other 2 pieces, so the 2 quarters, one should be your carbohydrates, one should be your protein, like your meats, your fish, and those things.
Okay.
So a few things like that can help us, you know.
Well, we got a message from a listener who says, I'm a diabetic patient. I use fast-acting and long-acting insulin. I want to know whether this product is good for me.
So as a diabetic, because they are on insulin, you have to be careful, because if you're taking insulin, they might be type 1. And that is the autoimmune disorder, and that's like about 10% of all diabetic cases. So with that, if you're taking insulin, you stand a chance of your blood sugar going too low.
Okay.
And when your blood, if you become hypoglycemic, you can actually go into, you know, shakes, and then you can collapse and those things. So you have to be careful, because this is not sugar. This is to make sure that this is not sugar. So if you are taking insulin, and you know, it maybe your doctor has given you a certain dose because they know that you're probably eating regular foods and all of that. But so you have to discuss it with your doctor so that it's managed properly. But this is for people who don't want to eat sugar.
Okay.
But because he or she is on insulin, they can still take this because it does nothing to the body, but we wouldn't want them to go into low blood sugar because they haven't had enough sugar.
All right. As we wrap it up, just run the numbers by us again for those who may have missed it the first time, you know, in case they want to call or they are interested in all of that.
Okay. So the numbers again are 020-215-9603. Again, 020-215-9603.
Okay.
Or 020-012-7380. 020-012-7380.
Okay. So people can call these numbers if they want to purchase or order or, you know, ask questions possibly. Okay. 020-215-9603 or 020-012-7380. That's the number you can call and order your boxes or packs and packs of Splendor Stevia and Splendor. So Splendor, the original one, the Cocoa is in a yellow box, right?
Yes.
Yellow box. That's the original one.
Yeah.
And then the Splendor Stevia is in a green.
But it's plant-based.
Plant-based.
So,
I see.
They can also follow us on Splendor Ghana on Instagram or on Facebook.
Great.
Okay. Splendor Ghana.
Social media is always good.
Social media is always a way to go. Great. It's been educative. It's been insightful talking to you. We've been speaking to Mabna Webb. She's MD Brighter Purpose Group Limited. They are in Tema community. We've been talking about diabetes. World Diabetes Day is on November 14th. They have this lovely product called Splendor or Splendor Stevia. Two different products, but same family. You know, great sweetener, sugar substitute, and all of this is about diabetes. November 14th is World Diabetes Day, and so as part of their CSR, they are doing a campaign dubbed Education to Protect Tomorrow. And like you heard, they are having a screening. That's on the 14th.
On the 14th, and also on the 12th. We're having a screening at La Paz. Yes.
So if you live around all these places, just go get screened, and you know, just know where you are.
Know where you stand.
You know, so you can
effect
some
to manage it.
Yes, effect some good change. Thank you so much, Mabna Webb.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure.
Wish you the very best.
Thank
you the very best in your ventures.
Thank
all right,
you.
take care then.
Okay, you too. All the best.
All right.
Thank you.
This is the Citi Breakfast Show, the city's biggest conversation.
Still listening to the Citi Breakfast Show. Your comments are welcome on 0549986996. We'll take a very quick break. When we come back, a few more of your comments and we will call it a morning.
The Citi Breakfast Show. Rise above the noise.
Kata World Cup 2023. Na bisa di tube blese. Phone bang, home theater bang, TV bang sunombe.
and yet the Wuniani, pay you my year, Pencola be the training. Ube Chantro, the possible JD, forget your degree, and yet the Wuniani. Black Stars, and yet the Wuniani, Mokofa Corp and Brand a damn wish. Me what time for me what cat 20, me get the confidence, and yet the Wuniani. Politicians, I feel you changing my bra, Gana Sika and Moma and Chendi. Parliamentals, and yet the Wuniani, the Piamokas and the Sinina Gumasueti, a post for, and yet the Wuniani, Munja, we had the Mujinana Mungo operation. If you are Kate, Namuchi DV, I come from Namuguya Puchi. A teacher way, and yet the Wuniani must strike me here, Musika and Moatanian, cocaine crowd will be into me and trace, and I wouldn't move so Mukojina DBH. Massa, and yet the Wuniani, what a Boafo crab is and I get the Babuchi. But they say, hey, and yet the Wuniani, after a day declared, Mama Yen Cage.
Now what's your name? Come out, yo. Go, come on. First of all, your brain in Koso. ECG doom your light supply matogo. And Mamu say Mumaya Mreche Coco, Osha Samotia, sorry them teen chobo. Basing, Yedi Yana Cementi, we are so damu, we are so much Ganyana Tibia when you do. And I would teaching Kosia Wobako, Ama Bayer, Rissia Gallywood, Musukia Bay 4 pounds or so for cancer, Panajai that tons. Yedi Yana Chrono or Porchale, any Bible Musanium follow Jots. Hey! 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 When in the we got in the back, and so then you con Sasha Nema, Obana Honka, Odusika, Obesu Swaka, Kusia Soma, and Mania Ghana buying one system, a Pobonia police to 20 year put them, and yet
9:47. Still listening to the Citi Breakfast Show. Go through a few of your messages that have come through on 0549 986 996.
Talking about
the
Vivian's the protest and
mining.
Vivian's preview of the Galamsey report that's going to be airing from tonight till Wednesday evening on City Newsroom or CNR. Listen, it's crazy. There are people saying the Galamsey issue is so bad. Okay, Kwesi from Tema had a message coming in. He says, go to my hometown, Abomusu, and you see the level of destruction being done to the almighty Brim River. You will be shocked to see children under 8 years old going around with headpans searching for leftover heaps of sand to find gold. Nathan, this Galamsey issue, it's, as said earlier, a fight to be fought by communities, but the sad thing is some of these communities have been so deprived that they also depend on the same act. It's really complicated. I have one question though. The Greek minister, does he have a farm, or has he ever farmed before? He's so clueless about anything agric. Like, I'm sure those times in school, he'll choose to miss agric studies to go and play chaskele for some corner. But Charlie, he's an agricultural economist. He has a PhD in agric economics.
And he does have farms.
And he does have farms. So, well, okay. More messages. Kwabena from Ashalaja says, I think the objective of the protest was unattainable, and that's why most people didn't attend. For the president to resign is impossible. But for realistic demands like abolishing of fuel coupons and reduction of the size of government, that would have gotten more people to support. Well, Kwabena will never know. Felix says, aha, Bernard, this is a silent yintiobia. They won't say it, but they won't mind you too. Okay. What he's talking about. Nathan and team, the Kumi Preko Reloaded was not massive because the organizers of the protest didn't do enough publicity. Lawyer Kwebu is more of an elite person and doesn't appeal to the masses. Can you imagine if Kwesi Pratt should be leading this demo? It would have been something else. Okay?
Kwebu rather is the elite.
That's maybe because he's a lawyer, they just assume. I don't know. If people would just think, oh, he's a lawyer, so he's.
Kwebu is the king of pro bono in this
time. He's a lawyer. So these days, protests are good avenues for a few people not to make money and gain popularity and self-interest. I won't waste my time. This is Favor from Anya. Okay. Hi, City team. Just out of curiosity, I'd like to know if you guys would have loved to be at the demonstration and how many made it to the demonstration. That's Atu. Well,
for us, we had demonstrations. We are there to work.
Yeah.
That's the issue.
The thing.
Who show up at demonstrations is work.
Citizenry didn't show up at the demo but chose to use social media because transportation cost is a problem and you can't really gauge those with ammunition on them. If it goes south, many will be found wanting and don't even have the money for the aftermath. That's also a good point. People have seen in the past, some people get injured and at the end of the day, who takes care of that? Good morning, City Crew. I'm Abrokwa from Nankese in the Suhum constituency of the Eastern region. People just want to protect their lives, period. That's why they didn't show up for the protests, okay? CBS team, please, her local ship needs to go to my hometown. Okay, we've said that already.
Yeah, you've done it.
We've done those. That's on Galamsey again. A lot of people are. Some people are actually not surprised and are telling us that it's even worse in other places. So, from what she was describing, Charlie.
Yeah, I made this point a while back, and again, sometimes the pains sound repetitive, but you know why I keep telling you that Galamsey won't end? It's too lucrative.
Yes, we've said this.
Yeah,
if people are making that kind of money,
there's just too much money.
Too much money.
When Vivian was talking to the excavator driver, how much does he earn?
Yes.
The excavator driver.
450 to 500 a day.
450 cedis a day. Yes. When you did the interview on the person who rents the excavator, how much does he rent it for a day?
8 to 9,000.
8 to 9,000 every
8 hours.
Who's stopping?
Too much money.
He makes 450 Ghana cedis a day. Yeah. He works Monday to Friday. Yeah. So he can decide to even throw in the weekend if he's in a good mood.
Do you know my worry now? So that is it's actually going to attract more people now.
So that is 2,250 cedis every week.
Make that a month. Calculate that, right? How much money does he think he makes in a month?
He
doesn't pay tax.
By 4.
He doesn't pay tax.
That's for for the driver.
Unfortunately, most of these people end up blowing their money,
because it comes in.
Because by the point the money comes in very quick.
It comes in quick. You understand? But they are just it's just too much money for a lot of vested people, and there's a message that dealt with it needs to start from the communities, but the communities also can't end it because they lack so much. They don't have anything. So the resources that they have is what they're going to rely on. We're going to dig it and we're going to sell it. Okay. And we really need to find a way to
Godfred.
Because you see, my concern at the moment is the rate at which the environment
is being degraded.
The operation to deal with the Galamsey is like 6 months behind what is happening. Because once that is even, they're trying to reclaim that land, get it back. It's a long war.
It is. And it's just,
I'm not convinced we are equipped morally, legally, whichever way
to stop this.
No, logistically to deal with this. No.
Looking at the figures she was quoting and the people involved, when you think about the fact that these are the people who are on the lower end of the totem pole, so if that's what the people on the lower end of the totem pole are making, imagine the higher ups.
Yeah, and
crazy money.
I worked numbers for you here. So if I own a concession and I give it to you at 15%, there are some people who are making basically $150,000, $200,000 monthly from this.
And that's a conservative estimate.
Yes, that's a conservative estimate. There are some people, not all of them, but the higher ups. We're talking about significant numbers here.
Money.
Okay, significant numbers. It's going to end. That money feeds a lot of things in this country, both good and bad. Okay, so, and we're also in that part of the world where people don't really care where money comes from. So far as it does what it's supposed
because
to
there's
do.
So much poverty.
Yeah. So
it's survival.
This thing, it's hard.
I just wonder what the discussions are going to be like. We have a delegation that is at the environmental conference of the world right now. COP27.
We have 322 Ghanaians attending COP27.
I'm wondering if Galamsey is going to be
150 of them representing the Aban side.
Okay.
So they better go and do some proper work because they are there.
Are they going to go and seek solutions there? Are they going to discuss the Galamsey menace and what it's doing to the environment? I'm just curious to know what's going to come out of our participation in COP27.
Well, the focus, I'm sure they will come up at some of the plenaries that they will have. Okay, but the focus is on basically what Europe and the West owe us for all the impacts of climate change, and also paying us to do some of the things that are required. And then also the big debate about renewable energy and fossil fuels. The African side saying, well, you got rich on fossil fuels. Why are you telling us to stop when it's our turn to get to renewables that you are advantaged at? We don't have that advantage right now. So that's a big debate that is gonna come up, and it's something we also need to discuss here.
Yeah.
It's something we
What's the
need to
future
discuss.
for our fossil fuel consumption, especially looking at the way fuel prices are going? Look, if there's a way that someone can come up with for us to put water in our fuel tanks to power our cars, Charlie, I'm all for it. But the water itself is also going through crisis. So, oh gosh. Somebody is surprised to know that the Greek minister has a PhD in agric something. Yeah, he's an agricultural economist.
He's in that area. He's in that area.
He's a specialist.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it says the agric minister was a lecturer here in UST in the agric department, and yes, he has farms. Yes, I know. He always talks about his farms. I wonder how his farms are doing, though.
But you see, that's a good point, because we do talk about the fact sometimes that we need more technocrats to occupy certain leadership positions, right? And this is on paper should be a perfect match. A Greek for a Greek, you understand? A Greek person for the Greek ministry. So if the sector is in the condition that it is, I guess it's not really the best advert for putting technocrats in that position, right? It's a shame, because he has the qualifications on paper and is a practicing farmer. So, I mean, what more can you do there? The person should fit. This is square peg, square hole.
Yeah.
Oh, Osino. That is where the signboard is. We are born to be galamseers. Osino, that is where that signboard is.
Nana Kese says the galamsey has taken the whole town of Osino. He says, God save us. What is community mining? He said, from what he's saying, it's like it's just destroying the town.
No, that's Osino, dear. It's where you saw the mining happening by the roadside.
Oh, yeah. By the road, Kokui, there's the main road, and then they are mining on the side.
Oh,
and
on
then
the left side.
There was another picture too where there was the Osino water headworks, right? Now the water that feeds the headworks is all brown, it's all brown. Hey, as for this guy, I'm saying, like Godfred always says, I don't know. I keep wondering whether or not the authorities recognize the gravity of what is happening.
The authorities recognize that they've lost control.
That is it. I think
that's a recognition that they've lost control.
They know the gravity of it.
And I can easily show this to you. Post the meeting where they met everybody. What's happened? What's happened? But the snippets of good news we have put out, like the Katechi, Bumagama, and a few success stories here and there. What's happened? What's happened? Nothing. They've given up. I'm telling you, they've given up.
They've given up.
Oh yeah. It's beyond them. It's beyond them.
I see. So tonight you're continuing to the City Newsroom from 8 p.m. That's our major news bulletin on television. And you can get the first part of our 3-part report on the devastating effects of illegal mining or galamsey in various communities. So tonight, just tuning, Vivian Kailoko and her team will take you on a journey into galamsey pits, mines, forests, all kinds of places, just to let you know that this thing we are talking about is not some fictitious thing we are saying, and that is very huge. So tune in there and be enlightened. But that's our show for the morning. Many thanks for listening. My name is Nathan Quao. I sat in for Bernard Avle. You heard him. Godfred Akoto Boafo was here. Kokui Selormey was here. And you also joined us via 0549986996. Show produced by Fred Jabano and Caleb Kuda. Godfred Odum gave us help on technical. We are back tomorrow morning between 6:20 and 10 with another episode of the Citi Breakfast Show. But up next is the news at 10, and Anato for Boating has the details.
Good morning, Nathan, and good morning to you out there. Coming up, worker unions within the colleges of education give